very much, and we will find ourselves hurtling immediately in towards that as well. Los have a big hurdle to climb, not just in their opponents, but also in their history with their opponents. Last split, it was a 7-1 trouncing from w7m on Clubhouse. And if you were to say a map has some similar beats to the music of Clubhouse, Labs is often the one that carries that favor. So what can they do, or are they a lost cause here today, Demo?
I think, you talk about Club and Labs being very similar. It's, it's like a Dua Lipa song, isn't it? It's just a song from the 80s, just done up again, is it not? That's what Clubhouse is. It was big in the 80s, and look at Labs come along.
You making a Dua Lipa reference is like when I make a football reference, and I mean, all right. Well, on that upbeat news, let's hurdle ourselves. I'm shocked. I'm over the moon because my last duo,
it's not all about football.
Didn't understand what the word pop culture meant. Yeah. You're hitting me with Dua Lipa references and jokes. Come on.
A lot of secrets. One thing about me. A lot of secrets.
Again, I'll add it to things I'm getting you for Christmas, I guess.
Our Rangers, Duvet, and now
Dua Lipa CD
albums. Yep.
Yeah. I hope you enjoy it. Right.
Thank you. Listen to it.
5 seconds left before
We're in and off to the races. The races are to try and confirm somebody within that top 6. The immediate E1D is to give the Deimos bait, so they have somebody to hunt. Hope that there's a bit of maneuverability, and then they can go, ho ho ho, you are now in my list of people. Welcome to the club of me trying to track you down. With the results that we had earlier on, with how things sort of shape up as well, there's always the possibility, if w7m get the 3 points, that they could then jump themselves up above FaZe and above NIP, and they could be sitting in that second seat for now. But loss. They could theoretically make this happen in OT, any OT. If they get an OT loss and they get the 1 point, they'll go down by potentially to a -6, and then Loud need the full 3. Or they need an OT as well. So they don't really want to do it that way. If they get a win, Loud need an OT win as well to sort of jump them back up because of the round difference. If they get all 3, Loud have work cut out against them.
Ooh, what a start. I mean, but then you overextend. You die, but look at that, though, from Legacy. Where's the rest of w7m? That's you have to ask yourself. They're not in the bottom side. Lobin is in the mid floor. Oh, what a pick. Shots. He was stuck outside the bomb site over towards Fish, and oh no, a Deimos track in the 1v3, things you do not want to see. Lobin's going to try and make himself back up in towards Fish, but he's just going to be locked out. I mean, 3 guns are going to be looking at him eventually. I mean, Kurtz is trying his best to get him with a pistol, and I mean, 1 bullet would finish up Lobin at this range, but just it's not going to happen. I mean, w7m have been, just like you and the Dua Lipa reference, completely got off guard.
I mean, and it ends with a swim up Fish. The energy was everything they needed. It's been the biggest complaint for me for some of these teams earlier today is they're almost not playing the game's immediacy as much as they need to. They're not playing the heat of the game. Loss with that 1 round and that 1 statement is like, oh, we are here to play this game. Like, hit it hard. Yeah, they overextended, but it was because the rest of the team was trying to move in. They just went from nothing to everything so quickly. The opening kill was great, and they just kept on going and kept on going. And w7m, I think that's a little bit of a rude awakening of, oh, okay, this isn't going to be that game we expected. This isn't going to be the 1 versus 7 last time round. Obviously, getting in some quick early reads, playing alongside the Deimos with the Lion. As I said, the combination worked really, really well, but then they also just had the confidence to send the Ying shotgun round. Down to the basement. Oh, you assume w7m will be a little bit more clued in to the approach this time, Demo.
Well, I'd hope so. Because a Ying just going straight in through electrical and not really having anyone fight back, and then also allowing somebody just to walk in through rafters that just shouldn't be happening. W7M need to wake up. I mean, certainly if you're loud, you would like W7 to wake up, because then if W7M can do, you know, a job for you today as a loud member, then it makes your life a heck of a lot easier come our final game here this evening. Now, this is a bold one here from Lob, and he does know there's one way in and one way out of this this room, yeah?
Yeah, I think he checked that, but I mean, yeah, it's hidden away. A roaming Malusi hiding and waiting for 30 seconds for the hope of getting, and now he leaves.
Yeah, because they're going direct. They're not.
Oh,
yeah, they're going direct, so they're not even going to go for the room clear. So now he's panicking to try and get back to site.
They get the first. They get the pressure on. They're trying to cut those loose players. They're in the mid floor. Godez obviously still drifting around top of the rafters. Now this, regardless of droning, will expected to be cleared properly. I think obviously they got rid of the Blackbeard, and that's that big take in response. Sure, they might have been able to get rid of Volps, but I think in the trade out of those two operators, you'll be happy with what you've got. They've also already utilized another C4 elsewhere. They've only really got one of them left for a chance at going for this denial. So, I said they would be aware of it. Apparently, I was wrong. There's the Kiba. Legacy does find Lobin as well. They're going to sort of build up with the Azami and try and slip their way through. Almost gets caught out, but steps back in towards the fight and actually just blocks off the door. They're buying time, wasting it. It's a 3 versus 3, and it's a lot of utility thrown out here. But again, you know, you sort of think about what's traded there. Lobin on the roam in that position didn't really net anything other than a funny interlude in towards the round itself. A minute on, and they can't clear the Kiba carrier from the top floor.
Oh, be careful, Legacy. Holding that is risky. But this is a very interesting kind of midpoint here of the round, because I don't think Lost really know what they want to do. I mean, whenever you've still got player upstairs, it is a little bit, I would say more annoying than anything, because you just know he could do something. But if you spend, you know, time going after him, then again, it's going to kind of do you over in the late stages. You finally push into the bomb site. So I think they just have to try and just almost headbutt their way through the remaining defenders. But this is a shotgun close, and Paul Lu, a cracking swing, takes down Legacy, and well, there's that roamer. Does make his move, and yeah, W7M look as though they're going to hold on to this one pretty comfortably, and Paul Lu, final kill for him as well. W7M much better. I mean, Lost just didn't know really where they wanted to go at the minute mark.
I think that was mainly caused by not knowing about the Azami. I thought that they would sort of have that intel wrapped up. I thought that they would be able to move with the back of that. Just screaming their way up those stairs onto rafters sort of gave that game away. The Malusi didn't have an impact that we saw. Yeah, they might have drawn some focus away, but they didn't get a kill, and they sort of netted around. But maybe they didn't realize just how untested, and maybe, hey, Los should have put a little bit more work in clearing the top floor and getting that drone. Because if they'd known about the Azami and they'd sort of encircled her, yeah, it might have slowed things down 30 seconds, but with the hold that they had, it might have suddenly been a 2-0. But Palu swinging up a set of stairs with a shotgun, nothing you can ever really count out. They are hiding the pulse, so they can see if they can try and bait them into taking the top floor. They have 3 C4s to lead on with that pulse. Again, I can talk about expectations. If there is a pulse played on a site, this is often a good one, because you can hold the mid floor and then you can drop down towards the basement, or you can do it the other way around and just play the basement the whole time. It's a lot of soft you've got to plant on. You can have holes, you can angle C4s and loop pressure up, but there they are. The pulse is already down in that basement, and they might be about to, I was going to say, maybe make friends with the shield, but don't know what they're doing, just getting in their reps by the looks of it.
What's getting the information, the pulse, and this operator in the right hands can do a lot of damage if you are in the right place at the right time for it. Certainly for W7M, I mean, you look at the lineup, I mean, that they have, you know, triple C4s, So that should be, I think, their aim here is to try and play off the information that the Pulse can have and almost try and deny the plant that way. And his layered defense from w7m. Starting off in towards Garage and now reinforcing walls up again. But realistically, I mean, the way we normally see storage go out, you don't need to take the entirety of top floor. As long as you have control of IT, Emmy, you can jump into storage and go for a pretty safe plant.
Oh, 100%. And, you know, you can see that they're opening pressure here, Lost, on the back end. They're sort of saying, look, we might come fish, we might come this, pay attention. But the shield sort of cracking their way in. Getting the stretch, the fuse, getting some work done on towards the connector. It just forces them further and further back. The Pulse still busying away. Actually going to slip their way up, and I think they've realized, okay, they're doing a heavy top floor take here. If we can maybe get a C4 off. Palu's going for the double up on towards blue. And now they have Rafters pressure as well and Rafters control. Is there going to be a reward to w7m? You giving them this much space? As you said, they only really need IT to try and get the plant connected. They have eyes in towards the site itself. They're going to see if they can try and drop their way down. And, well, here's the back and forth fight. Over the top, Dodez steps in, gets one, gets blinded. But they need to try and push on the back of it, and the cover is there. They haven't quite been able to find it. Dodez up and across, gets a second before he's dropped out. 3 versus 4, but a single position. They didn't massively need to send themselves on towards it. Again, overextending a bit, Demo.
Yeah, I just think they've put too much into it and they don't need to. And really, that's not the big issue. The big issue is probably going to be, the Pulse. That's what I'd be most worried about. And actually looks as though the Pulse is going to try and maybe go for a retake upstairs right now. He's inside the meeting room hallway, so he could easily slip in and even catch them by surprise. You can see Dots just checking in case anyone's holding, but no, he can go for it. The light says green, go, go, go. Palu holding on the fish. That's an easy pickup for him. 2 remaining players, but they just don't have the time for it. And Kurtz all by himself. Made his way in towards cargo, but Palu picks him up too. Yeah, loss. I think just trying to overcomplicate things. They're trying to make Michelin star scrambled eggs. It's not that difficult. Just eggs.
Well, Milos is fuming. But I think there's almost an element here where they're looking at too much. It's a firework. In the first round, the firework was lit just outside the site. It went into the site, and there's the dazzling lights. Here, they've lit the firework on the top floor, and it's kept going across the top floor. Oh no, I can't drive this firework anymore. I lit it, and it's just gone. And it's sort of the same thing there, where in the middle round as well, it sort of screamed up towards the top, not really paying heed towards it. And this isn't Beyblades, Demo. You can't just rip it and hope. You gotta pause the game. You gotta take breaths. Sometimes you can't. Hey, they did it in round 1, but they did it in round 1 because w7m didn't have the full watch ready, right? They almost, if they'd have done it towards the site in round 2, I think they would have got it in round 2 as well, based on the 2 top floor players going
roamers,
And instead, now they're trying to do the sort of rip it and stick it on different floors, and it's not quite coming together. w7m steadied the ship after the first round, but here is where things fell apart before. They can get this, I assume we'll get a timeout from Loss. Otherwise, they might be able to tie themselves back up.
Oh, Dots. Looking for the spawn kill with the C4. If he's going to be able to land it. Never mind. He's been killed by Legacy, who repelled onto the little mini roof and got an easy headshot.
Sometimes maybe you. Sometimes maybe me. Oh, don't give him a second one. I mean, they're also wanting to jump out here, Lobin. w7m have decided we want to be as violent as possible. Let's not let them get in and set up.
Or let them in the building, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not that Loss are afraid of that game. At what point Lobin might just turn on his gadget and hold out. At what point he might leave. He could slip down cargo. He could try and retake some pressure on fish, but the longer he leaves it, well, actually, seemingly not going to get pressured yet at all. Attention paid on towards IT, and you're sort of wondering, you assume Lost, they're going to rotate round, apply some pressure here on towards Rafters, maybe on towards Connector and Jungle as well. Getting that side opened up. And w7m is still just hoping for a fight here. It's IT that's getting popped open and breached. Either side, no tricking, and... oh, there's the pop, pop, pop. To get itself put together, and... ooh, it didn't get the electric. The fuse.
Yeah,
shot out immediately.
Obviously, a charged EMP had to come in. Didn't go for the double EMP, which I'm surprised at, and because of that, it has basically forced their hand into having to use their last Selma. So, is Garage fully reinforced? No, it's not. Okay. So they still have a way into the site. I mean, if that Garage wall was reinforced, they would have been, you know, in a bit of a spot of bother, but I suppose you've still got, like, the fuse there. I mean, you've got a few hard breach charges, but certainly the ace would have been your ideal way of opening that triple wall. What are you doing, Legacy? Just drops right in the front, in the middle of the breach. Oh, my.
Put that down to a bad move, as now they can try and move it into a different category. The pressure is on. They do swing onto one, waiting for Rafters to appear, but as Arthur has it covered, there's another one that pulls out from Dark. A smoke canister will stop them, but 40 seconds, suddenly they flip this round onto its head. They'll see if they can try and put a bit of pressure. They want to almost bite back in. They're still leaning in. w7m to this idea of being a bit aggressive, a bit sort of angsty and ready to go at a moment's notice. The shotgun's holding out against the fuse, slowly making its way up. There's only one bit of pressure from Fish, but they don't want to double down, so instead... you've got to try and watch a lot. And a lot is being covered here. It's going to be a bit of a 3-2-1 go end. And, oh, there's an unfortunate reveal of a player. It was almost an electric moment there, but lost 2-2, but only on the one site demo.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too. w7m not looking very strong on that top floor. I mean, giving away the opening pick in the fashion that they did doesn't do them any favors. And... I mean, a very weird, again, setup, because for Loss, it wasn't the case of, like, a traditional execute where, you know, you would see that 3-2-1. It just felt as though they were kind of almost snatch and grab kind of play style, where they were just kind of waddling in, finding the pick, and then quickly moving back out and just constantly doing that until they end up with the man advantage. I don't know, it's a weird play style that Loss are going for, but hey, it's working. I mean, w7m, I think, really lacking their trades in that round. Couple of careless deaths, no doubt about it. But again, let's come back to what you've said. You know, it's only been the top floor. This was an issue into the basement. Obviously, the mid floor, another issue for them. w7m will have both of those available to themselves.
I think it's like, as I said, the theory still stands in a way. That was much more delayed than the previous rounds. They weren't quite as everything go. They getting a lot of work done. They took a while. I think the fear of that was actually mainly w7m's defense. I think if, you know, we had two different people trying to spawn pick out of windows, one of them got caught out, the other one wasn't pressured immediately, but it slowed down Loss. And in a way, it kind of helped Loss to some regard. They manipulated the space well. They took it bit by bit. They might have done that anyway. But I think it was only really sort of emboldened and underlined by w7m's attempt at a hold. On now towards a site that we've already seen them lose, and they've gone with similar positions, a similar extension, though no secret Malusi this time. The ban of the mute really always leads into an idea of how a team likes to appear. You think about what they've taken out there, it's the vision that they can apply, the mirror and the clash. They can't quite extend themselves or be a bit mobile with that, but in the same breath, there's nothing they can stop from being watched. w7m's drone game is... well, I say their drone game. Their defense at the drones is just going to be a consistent problem here that Los can exploit. Where do they want to explode, though? They have the Monty. They have the chance at ramming themselves in quite quickly. All the soft destruction in the world, but seemingly not a beachhead as of yet. The calls come out. And there's the step, a hop in, and Rafters temporarily is theirs.
Just using util that they have to try and create that pressure in towards that top floor, but oh dear, what on earth is going on? Loss, capitulating, everyone dead. I mean, the swings, the engagements coming out from w7m is just unrivaled right now, and honestly, like, Emmy, trying to go for this roam clear against w7m, I don't see the vision for it. I think there's really good opportunities just to go direct, go for rushes if you need to. w7m are, you know, they're going for this roam game, and they're achieving what they want, and that is to take fights.
Yep.
The Roamers want the fight. That is the way w7m play the game. They're not scared of anyone. So why are you giving these engagements?
It's the two halves of why someone would do something like that, right? You're either doing it to waste time, waste utility, pull them away. If you get an engagement, great. That's how some people think. On the other side of it, what you can have a problem with is when you have teams like w7m who are like, oh yeah, let's fight. Like, meet me on the top floor in 30 minutes behind the bins. Let's brawl. And you can see his loss, talk it out, and try and, you know, work out where the problems are coming through. Again, the intensity of this game, yes, there is possibility for w7m to leap themselves in towards top 2, but on the other side of that, Lost need this. They need this more than anything. They get a chance and an opportunity to scream their way back up the board. They would get themselves temporarily in towards second, and obviously the one team that can jump them is NIP. Probably the only people currently really specifically cheering for w7m's to win is also Loud, because that is the other result that gets confirmed by this. If Loss get no points, a last game doesn't matter for Loud in this regard. They are in the top 6. They are in playoffs. Not by their own hand, and with what could be a worse round difference than Loss, which is always that tough pill to swallow, but that is the difference of both teams got 3 wins. Loud were able to get to OT once and got that 1 extra point. That looks like a rehost.
Yeah, I would say it should be the case again. The time limit.
5 seconds left.
And it will obviously just slow us down just a little bit, but give us a little bit of a breather in this half, of course.
Natural hair color, Ash. The world would love to know. Shut up, Ace.
Be a rehost for just...
What a strange line of dialogue.
Stop the diffuser.
I'm not fluent in that language. So I couldn't help you
No,
there.
I was talking about the operator line.
Oh, right, I thought you talked about dialogue, and I thought you meant what they were...
No, it was...
Chat there. I was
I
like,
think
I'm
it was
not-
Ace asking Ash, goes, is that your natural hair color, Ash? The world would like to know. Does the world need to know this? These are special forces operatives.
Yeah.
I don't think the world should really know that level of detail.
You do know that it's not real.
What? What do you mean?
It's a video game.
What are you talking about?
They're just...
I thought Tom Clancy was real.
It feels like you've told your kid to some Santa Claus.
You're telling me they made up Tom Clancy as well?
Well, but Tom Clancy wrote a lot of books.
Right.
He
okay.
was a real person. But it's more the case of all the things that you see isn't real.
I don't believe you.
Oh, okay.
I have to believe you. Did you know I've made this comment before a million times. Did you know I was auditioning to be the voice of Ossa?
Oh, you let the whole world know about that.
Yeah. My greatest shame and loss is
You
that I
failed.
didn't get it.
Yeah, failure.
Wasn't good enough.
Yep. You
And
shamed
that's
yourself.
entirely the reason. If you ever fail at acting or anything, it's not because there's a lot of great people. It's because you were not good enough. Damn. No, it's fine. I'm not bitter. How many years has it been? 6? I'm not bitter. Time has passed. If you could voice an operator, if they would replace all of the dialogue, who do you want to voice? Who would you like to have your voice coming out of?
Who has really good dialogue? I'm trying to think. I've always liked Echoes.
There is something very funny about the idea of having a Japanese operator, and even the lines that he speaks in Japanese be done in your Northern Irish drawl.
I could go full Northern Irish, which a lot of people actually don't know what I'm supposed to sound like.
No, and they wouldn't understand.
Yeah, nobody
you
would.
at all.
It's what you would call over here a culchy accent. That's what it's called.
Your real accent. Well, you used to have it 10 years ago, 9 years ago. When
you certainly can. You can go and find some stuff where I was proper bad. But even that, I think I could still go worse. But
I wouldn't.
I've basically had to just take down my voice and rebuild it pretty much. You know.
Okay, can you, as we hear ourselves loading back in, can you just give me a read of the line, let yokai do all the work?
Let that yokai there, boy, do the work.
Imagine Echo says that, and I think everyone would agree that's a better game. So Ubisoft,
thank you.
If you can hear us, get demo in, get them into the studio. 3-2. You're back in off the races. I assume, obviously, it's a bit harder to tell because of parts, but time for a conversation there. It's felt like that was a tac timeout. I could be wrong. It could have just been a timeout beforehand, but they looked like they were talking. So at this point, loss. They know what they need to do. Slightly similar to the game before. ENX had to get full 3 points. They couldn't. As soon as they got to map point, it was over. Loss have a brawl all the way to the finish. If they get themselves 3 points, obviously that's the best possible scenario. Amazing. Great. Somebody call somebody. If this game goes to OT, w7m wouldn't be able to get themselves into the top 2. So they need the full 3 points if they want that chance, but obviously NIP still to play. Lost, however, could get themselves through in OT. A single point would jump them over Loud, but then they would need Loud to not pick up anything in the game against NIP. So either way, something is being confirmed here, whether it's a chance at 7th place or not. Fuse timed wonderfully there. The breach and a single pop will get the bandit charge. Oh, that was so close!
That's a second, though.
Yeah.
Unlucky. Nice intent. You know, certainly getting one side, but it definitely could have gotten the second. I just don't think he actually heard the other one being put on. So, yeah, still breach being opened up. That's the main thing that Lost needed to do, and they have done so. Just using all the hard breach charges. They have brought, 6 of them, so why not?
Get them done.
Get them cracked open. Now they do actually rotate over towards connector, which is an area that they haven't really had any interest in. I mean, a lot of the time whenever it came down to this top floor, it was just very scrappy. I think for Lost, where they just had to try and fight, and win their engagements, which they were doing. w7m with a lot of question marks around them, but they go back upstairs. And this is much more of a I would say, a presumed attack. I'm sure that w7m would be expecting. Oh, the Cade not going to be able to pop there, as the fuse charge, I believe, has been able to catch it and blow it up. Oh, now why are you doing that, Paulie?
Fun, I suppose. Not so fun for them. The bandit gone. There's a minute left, so they've taken risks and trying to find rewards. But remember, this is the sort of site where things have always gone away from them at this point. They need to try and find a way to lock this in. They've got an opportunity as the shield starts to smash its way forward. Build itself slightly further back. It's step by step, and the closer we sort of get to the punch here, has w7m done enough? Think about the times they've sort of lent in to get these fights early on. Think about what they have now and what they're still trying to get done. They have 2 of those pocket breachers left. Are they concerned they might get taken out from underneath? The C4 could be the end of their chance at breaching on towards that double wall, but it's not, because it does it one better. Gets 2 players. Lobin over the top. And now a 4 versus 3. The man advantage flipped on its head with 15 seconds. There's one more for the trouble. This could be the first time lost. Can't quite pull together the top floor. Just the Capital left, but not for long. W7M lock in a strong half.
Sometimes in Siege, we talk about defining moments, and just little things can have such a massive impact. And just a C4 nets 2 kills, simple as that. Round's done at that point. Just lose that man advantage. Just have nothing left for them. W7M, a good half for them. 4-2 is where they will sit. We're gonna have another one, though. Not another rehost, please.
They could pause it. They could pause the timer here. The player could rejoin. When we do SAL shows, we're not in the ears of production and ref, so we actually don't know why. Usually we'll have like Stefan or medics be like, we hold. Or explain the reason why things are happening. Barner's army. Double hard breach ban. There's the timer paused. Look at that. I'm like a producer or a referee. By saying the really obvious thing to do that was always going to be done. I'm like, I'm clever.
Oh. Hopefully we can try him in. Yeah, it's moving, but instead of 4-2 half, not bad. Pretty darn good. Whenever we look at a map like Labs, and obviously both teams have played at this stage, and I'm pretty sure both teams played it against FaZe. One team lost to FaZe 7-3, and another team beat FaZe 7-5. I think already in that comparison, I think it kind of shows quite a lot. W7M, they were able to also do a 4-2 half up against FaZe, so they're on course just to kind of repeat what they did last time, whereas for Loss, on their defenses, Emmy, they only got 1.
So you're telling me that's not good news?
No.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, it's always... What? Just checking the chair. Good chair, not going to collapse during a game. It's always that sort of risk and knowledge of it being a game of 2 halves. As you said, there's... When you know you're going on to a weaker half, whether it's against a particular opponent, whether it's on a particular map, the pressure actually gets higher in the first half. Because there's almost this element, probably, of Lost coming to this half and being like, oh, okay, we had all that, and now we've just got to play the game ahead of us. The fatalism about it can sometimes lead in to actually finding yourself a bit more confident. Because if you win the first round on an expected loss rather than the other way around, you're like, okay, maybe we can make something happen here. Something happen, like getting back into the game as soon as possible. A producer just said, I wish, in response to that.
Obviously, for Labs, we kind of talked about earlier how, you have Clubhouse and then you kind of have Labs, and they play very, very similar to one another. I mean, I think Labs at the moment in the current meta, it is just so stable. I think it's such a consistent matchup for any team. You know exactly what you're getting. If you have confidence, you can do a lot of different takes. I mean, you think about, let's say, the basement, for example, yeah? You think about the amount of variations. You can go for a full top-down clear. You can go direct. You can then go rush into that variation. You can go rush with a backstab, cut in free cargo. Like, the amount of ways you can play this map to suit your team's playstyle, I think, is why it is in a lot of teams' map pool. I mean, there's very few teams who don't want to play Labs. Everyone kind of has it in the map pool these days, and I think it's for good reason. It suits everyone.
Need to locate and defuse bombs.
We're back in. Yay! You're supposed to say yay. Woohoo! Woo-hoo! Yay! We're back in. now on the turn of the half. As you said, worrying statistics are one thing, but, well, let's see if they can try and counter them. Very different approach to the limitations of what the defenders can do, and the defenders are doing them immediately. The Clash and the Mirror, previously banned, are straight up and on the table alongside the castle. They're going to try and make this approach awkward. Then you add in some laser gates and mute jammers. Oh my! They want to try and slow down w7m's pace at being able to start to swing in, start to get into the gunfights, and sort of make everything outward a threat. It's narrow margins, fine, but it allows them to make things like rafters, the connector that previously weren't power positioned for the defenders into just that. Those threats can be extended. And how do you respond? Well, maybe a Monty, maybe a Glaz and some smoke. Those elements to play against it. Their limitations is on the hard breach. And they've opted to actually not bring any demo at all.
I always think that whenever you have the kind of half switch jammy, this is what sets the tempo, sets the pace. It kind of lets us know, okay, is the team who's leading just going to sweep from there, or is there a bit of fight back from the team who is currently in the losing position? Of course, that being Lawson. We've already talked about in depth the way that the points work out and what they need, and for Lost, they need to get a win on the board. Right now, w7m are just looking to make Cloud's life a lot easier for themselves. But as it stands here for w7m, slow and steady approach. Ooh, C4 attempted, but Lobbin, quick on the trigger, will be able to shoot out midair. More util being dumped in, and that is enough to scare away that mute. Oh dear, a Clash up against the Monty, not a favourable matchup at all. He does have the EMPs, of course, but only has one of them remaining.
That's it. As I said, you'll try and find your route in, and they've just sort of smashed themselves on, and without any hard breach, they're massively limited on their approach here. They can only really send it by what is already open, and they're going to try and open a bit more. The Buck is underneath, trying to force some problems and trying to force some positions, but he's not the only one down there, I don't think. There's at least one loose potential player on the roam from the side of W7, from the side of Loss, even. And they need to strike sooner rather than later. A C4 and explosive as they bait and waste a little bit more time. The Clash will get the read on when someone's passing, because, well, that gate will kick off and start to electrocute anybody, and it's the Monty that leads on. There goes that roaming player, I think, catches out Volps. Now, there's attention that has to be paid by the Buck. Can't look up, and with 40 seconds, I mean, again, I don't want to entirely criticize one decision, but no hard breach here, even with the limitations. It's the game that they want to take you away from, and you've just sort of given it to them. Swinging like that sort of shows what they're trying, and I don't think what they're trying is very good, Demo. They're flawless.
Oh, yeah. I would say it's a horrific attack, really, for W7M standards. Just trying to force your way in through fish. That's it. I mean, the round kind of lives and dies on your Monty there. You know, if he's alive, been able to take really good map control, get yourself in, can block the doorway, easy plan all day long. Whereas if you lose him, you have no way of getting through that. But the biggest issue was they had a perfect counter to the Monty. So the Monty was never going to do anything in that situation. And I think it's more frustrating for me that Clash showed herself really early on, but they still just went for it. Like, what were they thinking? The Clash was just gonna just give herself up, like, take me away in cuffs, fellas, I'll go now. No, she's never gonna go freely.
It's almost, I don't know, ill-prepared is one way of sort of putting it, but it's hoping the plan works when it makes contact with your opponent. It's a plan on paper, and then they've put it together and it's like, oh no, this hasn't worked at all. And then you're like, well, we're stuck with it now, so let's just try and finish it and get on to the next bloody round. Send yourself in on fish and hope for the best. Really, w7m didn't have, like, or not w7m even, Lost didn't have to work very hard. They just had to move a Clash slightly further back and move out of the way of a Buck underneath. And it was done. The round was sort of done and cemented. Yeah, they played around with the flank a little bit, but it came with about a minute left. They weren't under pressure, and they weren't even aware, or seemingly aware, of that player. Again, another bit of a stretch here on towards the back-end hold. Gets the work done early, and I'm hoping w7m have a little bit more of a standard approach here. You've got the castle, you've got a hard breacher this time. And they're already putting the pressure in on towards the site demo there. There's a bit of an opening from the side of Animus. There's a bit of an attention drawn from the Candelas, but then they actually rotate out of there. Draw them in and move off.
Just getting the basics done right, which is a vast improvement from what we've seen last time. Obviously that mirror window is a big issue that they have to try and go through, and I would expect to see w7m get themselves in towards that mid floor. Get yourself into storage, you have the buck for that reason. But Loss, not going to give it up totally for free. They still have a few roamers upstairs trying to hold down to said area. And speaking of, one of the roamers is able to pick up the first pick. Lobbin is down. There goes the buck. So all that vertical play that you could go for is basically gone now.
Well, now, the spray round, they've lost the buck, they've lost another integral part, and I talk about missing elements, and there's a big one for this site, and at this point, well, what can you try and do? A minute on, Varias is still fighting his way up around cargo. He hasn't been fully removed yet. You can try and retreat towards the stairs if he wants, but again, it's this flank position where he doesn't really feel like he has to. About to find a firefight with a pistol that Dots wins out, and instantly gets that hatch opened up. 45 seconds, though. This is all work that was once upon a time under their control. They didn't really bait much out of it. They have a pocket C4 and a pocket bulletproof, but I think one of those is more effective than the other. 2 smoke canisters. Maybe get a bit of a lead on and a rush down cargo. There's a court player executed well by Volps. They're looking for the second swing. They tried to buy them a lifeline, but they couldn't quite get it in. So now back in towards the site and concerned, but does get that core taken care of. 3 apiece. 15 seconds here, w7m. They're knocking on the door, but Loss is answering. Sprayed across Parlu. All that's left in a 1 versus 3. Doesn't even really know where he's being shot from. But we're leveled up.
Easy defense again. w7m. I mean, like, you're trying to go really basic. You know, make the round as simple as you can. You've opened up the exterior breaches. You can see that obviously there's mirror windows going to be in your way, so you just can't go entirely direct. You do the clever thing. Let's try and take above. We have the buck for that reason. We can try and take control of verts and make life, again, so easy for us. Then you lose the buck. And you just think, oh, all the kind of basic stuff that you did is just went out the window, you know, straight away. Because the integral part of that push that you're trying to achieve is gone. So I don't know, w7m just in a bit of a slump. I don't know. It's a weird one. It's not their usual selves.
It's in elements unfortunate, right? Obviously, as you said, it's not their usual selves. But again, it brings me back almost to that very first round of Lost. The compliments paid towards them. Yeah, they only won out on the same site twice. But they did it with such confidence, and they hit this game in that opening round with the confidence of a team that knows it has to win, which we haven't really had fully today. We've had different stakes, and the stakes keep changing. That is what happens the longer you leave a playday on the grill. But at this point, this sweet spot, Loss are fighting like a team that needs 3 points. w7m would like top 2. Loss need nothing other than top 6. They need playoffs. And even winning this doesn't guarantee it, because there's always a chance there could be another upset result following this immediately. But they are going to do all that they can within what they can worry about. And as put earlier on, to Oscar Piastri, control the controllables.
Oh, w7m. This is your third attack now, what it is on the more achievable bomb site, no doubt about it. Oh, third bomb site. The attackers have the attack. Again, the kind of general layout of this bomb site, and sometimes why it doesn't work for defenders, is mostly that window that leads straight into the bomb site, and it also comes equipped with a blind spot plant too. So as long as the attackers can make sure nobody's inside of storage and control the vertical over towards IT, you can just jump in and plant, you know, absolutely for free. You know, nothing's really going to stop you. Maybe a C4 below, but again, you'll also do your checks and make sure no one is downstairs. I have got the first pick, so that is a better improvement here from w7m. And again, the way that things are kind of planning out, Emmy, this seems to be much better shape and structure. They've opened up that IT breach, which I mentioned is certainly one of the first things you need to do. And all really Dodos need to do is just sit and hold it. You know, he's brought the Nomad in for that very reason. He's got the air jabs primed and ready.
Are they going to swing out? You can see they're tempted by the idea of leveling things up, but it's a risk. You're the hero. You're 4-4. You're the one that gets the trophy. You're the one that sent them into the 5 versus 3. There's Legacy. Leans up, drops Dodas. There was almost a second that followed from a smoke that was aching for a fight around top fish. There's a bit of backup that's come around here, but they're not entirely sure. And again, think about where the site is. Think about what they're fighting for right now, where the risk needs to be and what needs to be taken. It's an explosion on towards Fish. A C4 gets shot out, but it's a fight with a shield, and he somehow wins! Legacy gets one, gets dropped. But it's back and forth. Suddenly, it's just the smoke left. And Palu, sniffing for blood, knows where he is. Takes a risk. They're surrounded. They can't quite find a way out. w7m, first in a while.
Oh, w7m. All of the gunfights, all of the deaths happened upstairs. You know, complete bloodbath. Yeah, Lost just couldn't stabilize. I mean, they were doing really well. I think the trade back the kills back and forth, but w7m just having enough in the tank to win that 1v2. I almost thought that Paulu was just going to get absolutely caught out there. He didn't know where. I mean, he had a fair idea of where the smoke was, but just didn't have, you know, a clear vision on him. And I think very fortunate to not die to that first peak that the smoke went for. But hey, that's how it goes sometimes. w7m at least win the third bomb site, but really that's not the issue for me. You know, they have to go and win the other 2 bomb sites that they just haven't been able to.
At this point, back and forth, traded, the anticipation of all the way is that looming possibility. That sort of reminder that floats its way through for everything that is needed here by loss. w7m need even more. They want to get the chance at jumping NIP. It's not going to be via round difference this late in the day. It has to be the 3 points. Otherwise, they will be locked out of the top 2. And NIP's place is secured. Loss. They can keep themselves neck and neck here. They can keep themselves battling back and forth. They've already grown massively on the last time they met this w7m team. And granted, it's a very different w7m. Last time they were undefeated, I think, at this point. And they carried that one through all the way. Now, Loss. The chance at holding out since the rehost has been a little bit of a drift away, but Legacy been having a great series so far. 12-7 overall. Kurtz is the only real missing factor. Farius was 4-6 total, which shows since the rehost has unfortunately not found any real headway on defense.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just thinking 1C4. That would be an absolute nightmare. How many players are stacked up on that wall?
Yep.
The fuse, though, is just fusing away. Using the pucks. Does it get the castle barricade, though? Is Ricochet? Nope, doesn't look so. So that castle barricade is still intact for the meantime. Again, if you're fortunate with the pucks, you can actually have it kind of bounce off the railing there and catwalk, and it can bounce back and blow up the door for you, but has missed out on that opportunity, but I'm sure still will get destroyed eventually. See, a lot of util has really been forced into garage and catwalk. You know, you've got a lot of protection operators. You've got the castle, obviously, that we've just seen being used not only just in the catwalk door, but even downstairs in the doorway into the little room that just leads into the garage. Even it was castled off at a point too. So they really want to kind of hold fast and really fight for garage here, but look, we know what happens whenever these angles start getting opened up and you don't necessarily have the safety anymore. You just have to leave it. You know, catwalk is a tedious place to play.
Well, as tedious as it can be, Farius is doing their best to hold off on the slowly approaching pressure. Oh, if he was an ADS, well, he gets it anyway. They had the pressure of the fuse shield coming in as well, suddenly reveals themselves, and with a minute, they've got what is tentative control here on towards Rafters. It's a 5 versus 4, and instead move the shield, manipulate the space. You've done what you needed to do and gain them that ground, and oh, they're expecting this C4 to come out over the top as Dodos gets another. Kurtz goes down. W7M look like they're about to give themselves that guaranteed point at least. Pressure around on the opposite side. They're going for the make or break. W7M smash their way across. They're inside the site looking for a fight itself, but suddenly they haven't found one. Oh, because everybody is dead. There's at least a fight, scrappy as it is, from Duck. But as they prepare to drop the C4 on towards the fuse, at this point they could just plant.
Yeah. Could be. There we go.
Now, can they pull this back? No. Quick question, quick answer.
Oh dear. I mean, much better from W7. I mean, why they didn't do that in the first round is beyond me. You know, they went basic, opened up walls, got the rafters control. Also, how often do we see somebody get killed because they've been spotted running past a hole in a castle barricade that a fuse made?
Not that often.
That's a first for me, I think.
Yeah. Well, the castle didn't expect it either.
No, he's seen something run across and then just an easy gone 6 into a pre-fire. Nice little job there from W7M, and yeah, much better from them. You got those picks, then you rotate over toward Fish rather than trying to just headstrong from Fish right from the get-go. That's the difference. So W7M finally looking like themselves again. And really now, if you're lost, you're kind of in a situation where the only site that you haven't lost is basement. And that's not necessarily the issue. The issue is that if you do win basement, where do you go after that for your match, for your 6-5? But again, in theory, I'm saying this as though they're going to win the basement. It's still yet to be decided, but just let's pretend that they did. Let's pretend that we're 3 minutes into the future. Lots of won this round. 6-5. Okay. We've jumped into the DeLorean, right? Myself and yourself, we're in.
Whoa.
3 minutes into the future. And where did they go? What site? Your storage didn't work. Your top floor didn't work. That's the issue that I'm kind of seeing the future here for loss.
Kitchen.
Oh dear. You don't want to say that.
That's one of the... We gotta go back. We gotta go back, Marty.
No, not go back to the kitchen.
We gotta warn them. Don't go to kitchen.
5 seconds
At
remaining.
this point, just to put the stakes back up, it's not done for Loss. It's not like the previous showdown. Loss could still make this happen with an OT. An OT win's better than an OT loss, but an OT loss, technically, fine all the same. It would put them and Loud on the same points, and Loss have a much better round difference. It means that Loud would have to get to OT as well. But if both teams get an OT loss, Loud obviously stay 1 point ahead. If Loss cannot get these 2 rounds, that is all that is written of them this split. Opening engagement could be massive. Obviously, Farias not quite being able to get themselves in, but it's been traded sort of back and forth. And so far this half has an 100% sort of run rate of whoever gets that opener gets the round itself. It's very much been par for the course that we've had laid out ahead of us. They're getting themselves cracked in and open up. There is at least a little bit of a loose play here of Kurtz, who's hurt. Not dead. As much as Castle likes to make it sound like he is.
Yeah, it's a much better adaptation here from W7M. They brought in 2 soft breaches, so even if they did lose the buck, which happened to them last time, they have the ramp, and I like the fact that they're going all the way from the top floor. They struggled with roamers in that mid floor. Let's clear them first. Let's use that extra bit of soft destruction that we brought into our lineup to clear them out, and then it just gives us an easier time then of doing the second bit of soft destruction, getting in towards that mid floor, which we couldn't do last time. So yeah, this is looking so much better. Such a better shape and structure here for W7M. All they have to do is just follow through. Get the verts open, figure out where they want to plant, have everyone hold their angles, walk in, get a plant down. You have a shield, which is obviously going to help with that. It's up to Lost to do something. You know, they don't have any form of denial, so they have to try and play guns up. I think retake has to be a retake from Lost if they want to win this round.
40 seconds, all 10 players, and we're about to explode our way down towards the basement, but it's still a fight on the mid floor, and Lost are going for a retake, and oh, that's a very good idea, but it's instantly traded back in. They got one, but the trade-off of Kurtz to Lobin, the buck is probably one they're happy with. Yes, they have some extra, but as the plant's being confirmed, why are you on the top floor? Well, there needs to be some attribution, and there is, Arthur! As late as you like. Okay, now where's the rest of you, W7M? You've got to act on the impact, and they just can't get there in time. They're having to fall hatch to hatch, but as soon as they try and cement this, what a way for that to play out. A single player on a plant and a single player to stop it defines it all, Demo.
Yeah. It was what I thought Lost were going to do. I mean, it's the only thing they could have done. You have to try and retake above. You know, you have to try and get active. They had no real plant denial. And as you've seen, perfectly timed. The roamers come in upstairs. All the players that were holding the vert for that plant going down, they're no longer holding the vert. And that's where the Mira can just slip in. No cover whatsoever. And all it takes is that diffuser just being dropped. 10 seconds left. No time. Yeah. Love it from Lost. And like I mentioned, Emmy, we were in the DeLorean. Here we are.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
We're back. They didn't go kitchen, though.
No. They went top floor, which, I mean, last time they were here, W7M, they just went so straightforward, did their basics well. Lost and need to adapt. They need to change things up.
One round. One round separates them from a chance of fighting. It doesn't guarantee it. As I said, you can only really do what you can do at this point, this late on. This is the spread of how everything comes together, but currently the only separator is that Loud reached overtime once more than Loss have throughout the games played, and that could be leveled today. Loud have NIP to try and get through. Loss. Your best and only chance lies in this. A season's worth of play culminates in but a single round to hold off an onslaught of W7M. The Maverick. Getting the early work done here, but there's no chance at a catch of a C4 or anyone that wants to immediately put pressure back. The denial of the wall will come from a mute jammer. None of the bandit tricking, none of the plays electricity that we've seen run by W7M on their half, and he gives option. We're hoping to lean in, and Varius being able to get their first kill in a while in the previous round might lead into a bit more success. They're going to keep that a little bit soft for now and just open it up. Get the angle and get the pressure. At what point does it feel a bit too much here for Loss? They've used all the reinforcers. They can't quite give themselves a cement on the back of that mirror window. They've just got to be concerned that the pressure doesn't come from behind them.
Yeah, again, a slow and steady approach for W7M, just making sure they can do the basics correctly. Definitely Catwalk is what they're after, and that's where they want to try and push. And they're just going to send the shield straight for the window. Yes, they are. Volps is in, and now he has control of Rafters. Oh, almost. It's taken out for the Fenrir. Oh, don't be overextending too much, Volps. Just punch the mirror window. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, that was a second there where he seemed like he'd gone a little bit too far, but maybe he knew about the pressure and the support that was coming from his shoulders and wanted to bait them into the swing of somebody else. Took a lot of damage. And now you're looking at things like those C4s already prepped in Kurtz's hand, ready to be loosed, although it's swapped out, as I say it, the smoke canisters as well. This is 50 seconds, and they've just got to sit and wait. Legacy just preps that one as well to immediately pop on the back of it. They're still concerned about watching what might come from below and come from the depths, but w7m, they're probing, and there's the first. Dark's able to get rid of dots there. The catch the slight pressure here. They're still preparing themselves around. The third smoke canister will pop. 28 seconds. I think that one was a little bit angsty. They thought the shield was going to run in, and at this point, 20 seconds lost. Just have to hold up for their hope. And they're about to meet Volps on the side of a shield. Covers one, wants to try and go across the divide. Legacy takes the head off of Palu. Arthur gets one more. Dodez does their best. But as Farius steps in, and with 5 seconds left, Lost just have to sit back and watch the timer go up to OT. They're still in this, still fighting. They're getting their hugs done. They know that they've done a big part of it, but it is not done yet. If they can get 2 points, then that means the pressure's on even more for the team ahead of them. That means that Loud would again have to repeat, would have to win in OT or better. Beat NIP clean.
Wow. Wow. I mean, what can you say about loss? I mean, digging deep. w7m just... I don't think w7m got the pick that they were after. I think w7m were just hoping that they would be able to have a man advantage at some point during the game. And then they would just utilize the blitz to almost overwhelm that weak position. It's not the rehost, by the way. This game's never going to end, it feels like. Oh my, but what can you say? I mean, just Siege.
Just Siege. I mean, I'm glad we've had this, because obviously you and I cast EML when there was another important possible day. There was another chance that X team could do Y thing, and this depends on this, and this will shake the tree, and this will... Oh, it's already been resolved within 2 games. And that set the course for everything else by results. This changes things. We could have been going into that last game with everything settled, but now we have that do or die massive run. Loss. Better now than before this round. But still. Imagine being Loud right now. Think about how in, stage 1, they fell out of the top 6 because of round difference. Same points as Black Dragons, 4 rounds separated them. Demo, in an hour and a bit, that could happen again.
Big breath. Big breath. w7m. I don't know. Can they still overtake NIP?
I don't believe so, no, because I think they were 2 adrift, as I have a quick double check. No, because round difference is too far. So it would be... They could tie on 19 points, but because NIP... Unless... Oh, I guess... Okay, unless NIP lose
NIP
massively.
need to get clobbered. Yeah. They need to take a bit of a lashing, but...
They would need to lose by at least 5 rounds.
Yeah. Which, it's still a chance. And I've seen G2 qualify for a major before, so I always take the percentages into account. There's a chance it's still possible, so... But again, it's a big ask, isn't it? You know, it's not in your hands anymore at that stage. You know, it's not just the fact that you're hoping for a team to lose, you're hoping for a team to lose badly as well. I think that's another parameter that you've kind of went into it. So yeah, w7m, I think they might have missed their chance of getting into the top 2. So NIP look as though they're pretty on course, as long as they just play their cards right in being able to take that top 2 position. And I mean, for NIP, when was the last time that team finished top 2 in the league?
I would tell you, but I don't know.
I'll have a look.
That's your job.
You give me a minute. I'll have a look.
Buddy, I'll paint the scene. Do you know why? I know why this game has gone on very long, by the way.
Okay.
Because I forgot to go to the shops earlier on today. So I ordered a pizza. that my housemate lovingly opened the door and got for me.
Yeah.
That arrived like a minute before this game started. I was able to get a couple of slices, scrammed as quick as I could, which is a northern term for eat. And then, obviously, it's turned into the longest game of the night. So it's my fault, as my pizza has slowly gotten cold.
Okay, I've got a reference, I think,
Okay.
for NIP, but it's a bit of a weird one, is the best way I would put it. And I have got evidence here. Oh, here we go again. Well, it gives me more time to talk about this then, I guess.
Is this wrong sides? Probably.
Who knows? Yeah, I do have evidence, right? It was back in
Protect your bombs from being
the
defused by
second
attackers.
stage of 2023 for Brazil. However, this was when we had a Group A and a Group B. It wasn't a full combined all 10 teams in the table. So it was 5 teams in each group. They did finish first in said group. Does that count? I'm guessing it does.
I think it does.
Yeah, because it would be top 2, because then the other person who finished, or the other team that finished in the other group was w7m. They finished first, so then they would kind of be like 1 and 2.
I think it counts. You can
So-
have that. You're allowed.
Yeah, it's been a while though. Like you're going back 2 years, 2.5 years even. So it has been a while since we've seen success from NIP.
We'll hopefully find ourselves back in. Do you know why it was then the rehost on the rehost? Because I was public about the pizza, which only adds more time before the pizza is able to be eaten. It adds tension, though.
What was on the
Tension.
pizza?
It's a generic meat. You know, when you just get the one that's like all the meats.
Yeah,
I got an all the meats.
a meat feast.
Well, I didn't want to give the game away as to what brand I've bought pizza from. Not because I don't want to advertise a pizza brand or whatever, but because everybody will have an opinion on it. Like,
Okay, I
either
don't
good
like
or
where this is going.
bad, everyone's got a favorite crap fast food takeaway place for pizzas.
Did I ever take you to? Do you remember whenever we used to do ESL Prem? Do you remember Pizza Go Go? Did I ever take you to that place?
I think once.
Yeah, that was actually like a classic back in the day.
Yeah. Do you know what? So this is when I did OGA Pit, however many years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, whatever
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
with the NAB, Sternab. There was this pizza place. Did we go there all the time as well? Yeah. So one of the producers of the show owned a pizza shop, and we had pizza pretty much every single night of a month-long show out in Croatia, and it was good pizza. Oh yeah. Oh no.
For Croatia,
Yep.
have the donuts, everyone. Please, if you live in Croatia, you know what I'm talking about. But I'm telling you, that place with them donut, I've never had better.
Attackers
Never.
need
Yeah.
to locate and
And Split was a beautiful place as well. Split
Oh,
Croatia. If
fantastic.
you're
Game of Thrones.
Game of
shooting place as
Thrones
well,
fan.
don't forget. Yeah.
a
mhm.
holiday in Split Croatia. Okay. Enough about Croatia. Let's get back to South America, where we currently are. And for one more time, the stakes, what the stage is currently set. W7M cannot potentially get themselves into the top 2 unless they get the 2 points here and NIP have a stinker. Loss have currently got themselves a
10 seconds left.
penciled in seat in the top 6, because though they have now guaranteed the same points as Loud, both on 10 points, their round difference of what is currently -4 is much better and uncatchable by Loud, who are on -12, even if they 7-0. However, they get one more point. They get a win here. Then Loud have to sort of get themselves an OT win. They can set the bar for a whole game, and the pressure is as high as it's been. Loss. Can they do what needs to be done here? W7M, can they get themselves in towards the top two? Both teams will now be watching that final game with a lot of nerves. We've seen two pretty solid halves, 2-4-2 halves, but that's a perfect way. Remember how many times you asked for it?
I know. It's yeah. It's always like a kind of safety like warning that you have to put if you play Maverick on that bomb site. It's may get C4'd, you know, it's batteries included. Yeah, you've lost the Maverick. It's obviously going to be difficult now because you're going to have to now use the hard breach charges that you would like to have kept for other areas, such as your connector side. I mean, still doable, of course, for W7M. They still have, like, a Monty, for example, which will give them good pushing power, of course, to just try and walk into the bomb site and get the plant down. So, see if Lost can try and front up these kills, and the first one that may come knocking is going to be on to Dudez, and that C4 has went whenever the fella's already jumped into the window, so they've wasted denial there from Kurtz. Only one C4 remaining, that is from Legacy.
I think they were kind of hoping that somebody was going to follow them through and, like, double in for a quick push there. The Monty's pushed up against the mirror window, got it locked in, and this has been a good bit of control. The response of losing Parlu was, right, we need to go. We need to put the punch somewhere else and make sure that that wasn't unanswered. They got an answer. They didn't get a kill on the back of it, just a lot of territory. Now, though, they can use this to immediately breach a route through onto the site, but Legacy is able to get one with a shotgun, and they're trying to swing for a second follow-through onto the connecting electrical. One of the two players already dead, so that won't affect the play out of the rest of the round on that degree, but that sure will. There's one. Ooh, there's a lot of damage done either side. Arthur took as much as Dodez, but the risk is against the shotgun. It's easier to just do that. Volps gets one. We hear air jabs popping off, but so is Farius. Loss once again in that driver's seat. One round separates them from 2 points.
They've no displacement for the person playing close in E-Box door, which I am just stunned by. I mean, it's such a common position. It's not as if, like, there's no nades. There's like a Grim is a great one as well to kind of displace him. The best way, and everyone knows this, go below and start shooting him from downstairs, maybe with a Deimos pistol, a buck, whatever you want to do. I mean, that is such a common way in W7M. It's almost as though they're just running into a brick wall and thinking they're going to run straight through it. They think they're a cartoon character where they're going to leave like a perfect outline through the wall. That's no, it's not how that works.
So, still here in this precipice, and look at the energy from Lost, though. Carrying it on as we wait to carry through. The opposite from W7M, the stress. They knew that they needed the 3 points. They could still make it with 2, but it's a frustrating thing for them to have to go up against a game that should be a win. When you have an underdog story, the bigger dog has to lose, and that's frustrating. Especially when you've been having a rougher split than you did last time round.
Yeah.
Said you sort of compare them, right? Top dogs to mid-table. Back in. Maybe for one more round, but it's seemingly endless, this game.
Is there any infinite OT in this?
They'll find a way.
We find like we find a reason for the whole game to be replayed. That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Oh no, it wouldn't, unless it's not played today, and I can go and eat my pizza and relax.
Yep.
10 seconds left.
Eating this pizza. It better be good, by the way, because if you're hyping up so much and keep talking about it.
Oh no, I'm not
Very
hyping
good
it
pizza.
up. I'm using it as an answer to the question of why has this game been the one, and it's because I ordered a pizza. It doesn't matter the quality of the pizza. It's because I had hot food and now I don't.
Well,
And
that's
you
that's
can
a rookie
reheat
mistake.
pizza. Well, it's the good. It was actually part of my logic. Was I can't decide when a takeaway arrives. It's at the whim of the takeaway. So pizza's well easy to reheat. So otherwise, I would just be eating. You'd not hear me for like 3 minutes at a time, and then you'd just solo cast. Production can see me on the camera, so they would know what I was doing, and I would lie and tell you that I'm just having internet problems. But truly, I would be feasting like Kurtz is on Volps. Oh, what a first blow here. Has that energy from loss carried itself over? Attack has been that rougher time to win. It's been a long time since we've seen loss on it. But what a way to start.
Deploying.
Oh, phone call. Anyone going to get caught out by it? Seem like anyone's in a position to play off the back of the buzzing. I mean, Lost don't need to. I mean, Lost have got that opening pick. I mean, they can slow the pace right on down. They just transition now into their second phase. They've got themselves into the building now. Let's start doing the basic work of getting these hatches opened up. Start doing the vertical work. W7M, they do have denial compared to, if you remember whenever Lost were here in their defense. You know, they didn't bring any denial at all. They went for a retake strategy. You know, W7M, I mean, they're still in the thick of it here. I mean, Lobbin is really caught between a rock and a hard place. But, I mean, for me, it's where's he gonna go? Like, he's in towards that top floor. It just feels as though they're gonna be so, like, loose on site now.
I mean, that swinging was hoping, right? It was doing its best to try and get a catch, and does put some pressure onto Dark. A little bit unaware of the chance there, and this could be that blow. We talked about when do you have the option to go and hunt for somebody. We talked about this was when Los actually struggled before, and they're going to send up a solo. Farius, the Ram, without any more boogie drones, is going to sit and watch, and actually, they're not. They're going to throw some flashes over and try and just bait the player out and draw the focus away whilst the rest of the team puts pressure on the site itself. But you're sort of still opening an opening for an even fight. They do find dots. They're inside, none immediately knocked out. There's 2 kills for W7M, but there's Palu down as well. So it's a 3 versus 2 with one player still on the roof. At this point, Los could put the pressure in towards the site. Dodez is all that's holding on right now. The Ram, what are you doing? Farius, what are you doing? Dodez! Unbelievable end to a round there. W7M not done yet.
Oh my, oh my. Moment of brilliance there from Dodez. And look, the game plan for W7M, they brought the denial for that reason. The denial really helped them. You know, 10 seconds. That is basically where those attackers are panicking. You know, their main cause is get the diffuser down, get the diffuser down. So then you start missing steps. And the thing that they missed was that guy just sat in a corner, just waiting, just right in front of the diffuser. So give all credit W7M, their game plan, play with that time denial. I mean, I was really, really worried about Lobbin. Even though he necessarily didn't do, I don't want to say anything, like he didn't get kills or didn't go crazy upstairs, but he was a presence that put pressure onto Loss. It was phantom pressure. He's not going to do anything, but it's just that little thing in the back of your head that makes you think that guy's up there.
All the way to the end. Did this game have any different result? I'm trying to have a quick look. This game started at an hour and 15 minutes ago, roughly. Hour 20. Truly has been everything possible from this. The comparison to the opening, that could have fit the first 2 games in this game. W7M immediately in, Lobin cutting their way. They're already planting demo. Volps is off. There's got to be something here. Floss, pay attention. Loss. Oh no! 2 trades out.
Wow.
The pistols at dawn. Dots gets 2 for w7m and loss. Is this the way it falls apart? A rush round, a plant in, not paying attention, not quite in the position. There's the smoke canister, buys them a second of time, but w7m, 2 shields. Palu getting 1 more. Kurt's under a lot of damage. 20 seconds. Can they even make it to the kit in time? And I don't think they can. They do get a blitz, but they don't have verticality. They don't have the windows. They don't have a clue. And that is all she wrote. Both teams technically get what they want from this in some manner. w7m with that final round do get themselves the 2 rounds. The 2 points. But, I mean, what a weird end. Oh.
Didn't expect that. Just a snatch and grab rush. I have to highlight Dotso. That is as good as a blitz round as you will ever see. Being able to not be, you know, the traditional where it would be a shield planting and, you know, the blitz going in for storage. He's there as the main distraction to pull them away from those guys going for the plant. But he wasn't, like, nobody actually went towards them. He was able to get himself into their bomb site and find 2 kills with a pistol. And at that stage then, he can just do whatever he wants, and he just ran them in circles. Like, he broke their ankles the way he was moving around that bomb site. So I have to give credit to Dots. You know I love a blitz, Emmy, and that was, yeah, top tier.
Do you know what I love? After that stint, a quick break before we're back with the desk.
You know how they say, it's not the destination, it's the journey?
And the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And you know what?
They're right.
Keep an eye out for contact.
Available now. Yes!
A roll
roller coaster of a matchup that ends up with W7M securing third and Los temporarily potentially moving themselves into that 6th and final playoff position. They got the 1 point they needed, so they will turn their attention to their next matchup. But first, we got to congratulate W7M and talk to them as they look ahead to the playoffs. We'll bring in Loban now after this victory. Loban, congratulations, my friend, on closing out the stage with a nice little overtime thriller. How does it feel to end up with this one? You go into playoffs now with this nice little thrilling win under your belt. What's that like for you?
I think it's good because we have a lot of things to rewatch and work on. And outside of that, I think my PC was exploding, and so it was a little hard for me this game. And we threw, I think, 1 or 2 rounds, maybe, I don't know, but like it was a close match. They played good. Arquis was having like a really good match today, and it was like carry for them. And I think that was a good match.
Congratulations on the win, first and foremost. Second off, how intense were you guys taking this series, and why did you guys go to labs in the first place?
I think the intensity was like normal. Like we want to win, of course, and all that, but we're not like having any type of pressure. We know you're gonna be in 3rd place or 4th place, whatever. You're gonna have to play the same playoffs. Doesn't matter anymore. And the labs is just because it's our best map. We just want to play it. We know it's their best map too, and they played like really random plays today, so it was a little different to play against. But it was a nice map to play again.
What's up, brother? I'm glad you're doing well, Loban. Congratulations on the win. I kind of want to talk to you just kind of about the entire stage, kind of just pick your brain a little bit. Obviously, you know, the stats only paint part of the picture in the story. I know even for yourself, not by any means that you were playing bad this stage, but I don't think you were playing up to typically where you usually are. I think you're obviously aware of it. I'm just kind of curious, kind of what has been this stage, the big difference from the previous stage or even throughout your career? Like I said, for me and just watching you develop, it just... Oh. Wait, what?
Hello?
Frozen? No, he was frozen. No, now he's back.
I was frozen. I'm back.
Did you get any bit of that?
No. We'll go the first part. I was playing, playing bad and then froze.
Yeah, no. So I was talking about, so like, obviously throughout your career, you've always been a very dominant player. You've always had very solid performances. This stage is definitely tapered off a bit. It's not saying that you're performing bad by any means. I'm just curious, like, kind of what's been the big proprietor as to why we aren't seeing Loban at the top of the leaderboards like we typically are.
I think you can say I'm playing bad a little bit because I have some tough matches in this stage. Of course, I think my role is like always like looking for the breach, and if I get like 1 open kill in 1 round of attack in a defense side map, I did like a good job for my team. So I'm literally like just focusing on doing my work. Like I said, I talked to Lawrence a lot throughout this stage because the last time I had a really bad stage was the one we went to Atlanta, that we were like the last place in Brazil. Like it's that level of thing. Like last time I played that bad. So this time I'm just working on like doing my job for my team, doing what is in my control. I had some really good games, the 3 that we just played. So I think we're just gonna focus on that. Today I really don't have nothing to say, like literally. My game was crashing, lagging in the middle of the round, so I was just like, yeah, guys, carry me, and I'm just here.
Just one more follow-up. I mean, I know you talk about the role you play. It's a very crucial role, being able to find that gap and create an opening. When you're in those moments, and like, let's say you can't find a gap, I mean, kind of what's going through your head and how do you relay that, or how do you kind of problem solve in those situations?
I think there's always like 2 things that I think about. One is I can use some resources for my teammates, or use someone as bait, or I bait for someone, you know, or for the... Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they have Dodas in Paulo, bro, the biggest baiters in the world, so they're always baiting for me. I played with Maya, another baiter. I always had a baiter with me, so it's fine for me. And the second thing is just go back to play with your team, you know, just play as a group, because if the team in the other line, the other side, they are playing like watching all the flanks, all the breachers, they're probably like playing alone a lot. So it's just way easier to play together, and I just don't need to do any type of lurk.
All right,
All right,
sounds
Loban,
good, buddy.
Thank you so much for the insight. We will see you next week in playoffs, man. Good luck.
Yeah, see you guys. Pwede send mo bandoing? Okay.
All right, W7M take an 8-7 overtime win, and they close it out. Obviously, this one was neck and neck. This one was a nail biter. Thought for a second there, Fox, that Los was going to take it. They were going to really apply the pressure to Loud, but it was W7M who closed it out on that 15th round with a clean attack that Los could just not stop.
Yeah, I mean, I think Loban said it best with them going to a map that's arguably the best map for both teams. I think we saw that out of Los, and Los's progression since we watched him in the NAL has been pretty big, pretty massive, and now they've put themselves in a position where they're still fighting for that top 6. We'll talk a little bit more afterwards. But when it comes to this game specifically, I was really impressed with how Los played the match. I wish we would have seen this Los the same way we would have wished to see the Black Dragons match that we saw. If we could have seen this consistency out of Los throughout the whole stage, we wouldn't even be in a situation where Los was playing for that top 6. They would have already been a part of it. And so that's the inconsistency levels. And when there's pressure on the line, it changes the way teams need to play. And that's what we saw, especially when it got into overtime. I think Los just, unfortunately, the pressure got to them and let W7M just run around on them. They played very well, specifically using that blitz on their attack rounds. The shield usage from W7M is what inevitably was the downfall for Los.
I mean, it was a beautiful, that last round that Demo even highlighted on from Dots being able to make that headway with the blitz. I mean, he said it best. That is the perfect way to use blitz in that position to get those 2 kills, open up the site, stall out the player while the rest of your team is going for the defuse. I mean, it was just flawless through and through. But yeah, I think it just came down, you know, where the more experienced team is always going to win in these scenarios. When you go OT, it just comes down to resilience and just being able to have that mental fortitude to keep fighting. But I mean, I do agree with you in the beginning of this, what you said, John. I thought Los was going to, I mean, that first round, I was very convinced. I mean, they took the top floor, then they just played the vertical pressure, not allowing W7M to come back onto the site. But then it was just once we started getting into the late round, once W7M started to warm up, then it was just really about back and forth. And even in that clip right there, Dota's getting that big 3K was a big deciding factor that kept W7M even in this fight to begin with, where they had that round. And that's where I think when the pressure is being applied there, that's, you know, Fox says this line a lot, pressure makes diamonds, and it also loses you rounds in situations. And I just think Los just faltered at the end just due to lack of mentality, where W7M has been in this situation, whether it's been on a main stage or whether it's just being here now and being able to close it out. But God, look at those numbers from Dotas. Holy.
I mean, what, 18 and 9? I figure he'll probably be our match MVP as a result. I mean, you see great numbers on both sides, but it was Dotes who won out the day. We saw big plays left and right from both Dotes and, well, honestly, so many different people in this lobby, but a big player, Fox, who made some big plays to get themselves over the line and into that 3rd place position.
Yeah, easily has to go to Dotes. Unfortunately, it still kind of talks with the narrative of W7M when push comes to shove. If matches get close, they are always relying on one player to be that X factor, that one player to be able to pull them out whenever strategies aren't necessarily working out. It's great to have that. When it comes to playoffs, I have no doubt W7M will most likely make Munich. These are issues that the top teams will have to be looking at going into Munich, because obviously when you get there, you won't be able to just rely on one individual player. You're not always going to be able to have cracks in a defense or an attack where you can get in, where you can have an amazing player just focus on their aim. It's going to be a lot more strategy heavy. And I'm glad we talked about it with Loban saying, oh, is he playing bad? And he was like, you could say I'm playing a little bit bad. And that's one of the key pieces to the strategy, is being able to make sure everything's working on top of it. So again, amazing play from Dotas. Thankfully, he was able to close it out and bring his team across the finish line. He's been having an amazing stage so far.
With
that being said, strategy.
With that, they move themselves to that 3rd place spot. As I said, W7M now locked in and only 1 spot left for grabs. And that is still that 6th place spot that now Los have found themselves in. Laxing, this is as close as it gets, as down to the wire as it gets, because Loud, now they've been knocked down a place, but they have yet to play, and all they need is a single point. That means they could lose in overtime and still make the playoffs. I mean, you've been in situations like this before. I mean, what's it like right now as Loud are getting ready for this next game? What is it going through their heads?
Listen, whether I've been in this scenario, I'm watching this scenario, my heart is pounding for Los, because they're also going to beat themselves up if they don't end up qualifying based off that Dota's 3K. But I mean, this is a moment right here. Loud can steal it away. They can qualify here, but they have to play their part and do their job that is needed. But again, I mean, everything is on the line here. Pressure is going to be mounting on these players. Last stage, they missed out due to round differential. Everything is in their hands now, and it starts with this matchup against NIP.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when it comes to Loud, players like Flash, Street, Perez, they've just been putting the team on their back. And there's been such a huge inconsistency when it comes to Loud, because when they play against the gray teams, they'll keep it close. I mean, very good loss, 8-6 loss to Furia in their last play day. But then immediately within the same week, they lost 2-7 to w7m. They lost 7-0 to Liquid. It's almost impossible where it's in the blink of an eye, or depending on the day, these two teams, it's two different teams in one. And I really think it comes down to their play style of the way that they want to play, the way that they coordinate an attack, because they just have essentially their support player always playing on the back line. They have so much utility on the team, but they're just unable to find positioning to go for those executes, go for the diffuses, being able to get the diffuser down. They're constantly losing people in the trade aspect of the game. And one big player that I want to look at specifically when it comes to that utility in the trades is Live. He is the glue that connects both the front line and the back line. And he's been having a pretty rough stage, and he's on roles that should be amplifying the amounts of trades that he should be in. He should be connecting the front line to the back line consistently.
I mean, it's not even just on Live. I mean, I completely agree with you. He really needs to be that glue, especially in a moment like this, where if you want to make your run to Munich, get to a major event again, it's going to start today in this match. But I mean, it's not just on him. I mean, Paris being their second best player, having a horrible game versus Furia, going 5-11, and then to just even double up on that, or triple up on that rather. Basetto also not finding a lot of success on these shields. We've talked about this time and time again with Basetto, just not being able to do a lot with those shields. Maybe it's just a scenario where maybe we just don't play the shields here. Maybe we just forget about it. Just go back to, you know, whatever fundamentals you were playing beforehand and forget about it here, because everything needs to be perfect. There can't be any excuses made. Everything is in your hands this time around, where last time it came down to round count. Now you just need a round. You just need a game to be able to walk through this and then put yourselves in playoffs.
Well, their opponents today in NIP, it's a spoiler situation for them. They are locked in for that second place spot after, well, the rest of the action has shaken up today. They'll get a bye in playoffs, but they have a chance to replicate what Liquid did to Loud in stage one. This is a very similar situation for Loud that they had just a few months ago. Came down the last day, they were in playoffs, and then Liquid knocked them out by leapfrogging them. They could be in a very similar position here if they're not careful. NIP, they don't need this win. They have got that bye. They're in second place, Fox. But man, would it be good to shut down a strong hopeful that beat you in the group stage last stage.
I mean, it would be amazing to be able to right the wrongs. That being said, if you're a Loud fan, this is a very dire moment, because NIP has been looking absolutely pitch perfect. As the season has progressed, they've went from close games, 7-4, 7-5s, to the last sets of games, 7-3, 7-1, 7-1 against FaZe in their last play day. I mean, NIP has been so strong when it comes to their opening kills, to their aggression, the way that they've been playing. When it comes to the whole team, they've really been finding their full stride of how they want to identify themselves. They're able to bring the shield, they're able to bring the utility, but Fantasy has just been so good on that Deimos, being able to find openings for his team, and they have not been losing those kills. They're denying the trades. Everybody on the team has been playing so well for NIP, and you know, even though Loud is close, they just need to bring it to overtime. When we talked to Pino last week, P said it feels good to finally be winning. And I know that feeling, and that feeling is not something that NIP is just going to want to give away just because they're close, You know, they've already made top 2. They want to be able to close it out strong. The same way I wished Furia would have closed the stage out strong.
No, I mean, this NIP roster, I have been so impressed from the previous stage into what it is now. I think they just obviously need a little more time to develop. And then with what I'm seeing this stage, which I think has been the biggest factor for me, especially on their attacks outside of just Fantasy and Hates just making big headway, is more so them being able to problem solve, being able to identify issues in the round and actually having a solution to fix those problems. Whereas before they would just kind of run their head into a wall, send another body, see if it works out, win the gunfight. Obviously we need those guys who can gunfight, but it was a matter they just couldn't adapt. They couldn't figure out the solution and the right approach. But now they are in sync. They have solutions. They can problem solve. And a lot of that also comes off the backing of Pino being able to make those calls, being a long historic player. So I mean, praise to him as well. But this roster, I've just been so impressed with their playmaking abilities here, and I can't wait to see what this game's going to look like, because as you said it, they aren't satisfied. They want to close it out here with a statement. They don't want to just let this game go by easy. They want to keep continuing their progress and improving and only push that much further into playoffs.
In sync is a great way to put it, Lax, because they really are a team playing so well across the board together. It's very rare you see a top team with players that aren't well above the others or people lagging behind. They are well across the board, all over 100 EPS, all playing very, very well. Well, to close out this last play day, we still got to figure out what map we are going to here. As always, we have to ask the question, are NIP going to show off anything new, or does it come down to consistency? Fox, frankly, I'm more curious where Loud are going to go to try to get the single point they need.
Oh, I mean, that's a great map, honestly, for both teams. That being, I really like Clubhouse for Loud just because it takes away the pressure of having to go to a map where there's a lot of inconsistencies. You have to be able to IGL on the fly. You can really work with it whenever you need to. And this is a map that NIP looked somewhat weaker on. This is one of their 2 losses. It was against w7m in overtime. And so it's a map that is a very winnable map for Loud to take them to. So out of all of the evils that you could have went to, Loud is trying to go to a consistent map for them. Loud has beat Los on it. They've played a little bit this stage. And there wasn't necessarily anything too surprising, but it's a very default map. And that's exactly what Loud need, because when it comes to the strategy, when it comes to trading, Clubhouse is very basic. It forces you to trade, forces you to keep it simple. And you can also manage NIP's aggression on it. So it's a very solid pick. And I'm surprised that NIP let it go through. Yes, they did bring it to a double overtime against w7m, but still, you can beat a team on Clubhouse regardless of what their skill level is, just because it's so simple. Everybody knows the basics.
I do want to say, however, I think that game, well, obviously, one, it was very close. It was an 8-7 where W7 walked away with it. But when you looked at everyone's performance across the board, Wizard at 10 kills, Pino and Cons at 9, same with Fantasy. And the only outlier of that situation was Hates being at 5 kills. Obviously holding it, I mean, bringing it down per se. Whereas, again, we talk about Clubhouse, it's basic fundamentals, it's who makes the least amount of mistakes. I think it makes perfect sense to be able to bring it to Clubhouse because you're going to fix those little mistakes and make sure you're perfect here. And I would say the opponent against W7M versus Loud, I would say one outweighs the other very heavily.
Well, here's the deal. As we said, Loud need a single point. That's a regulation win, OT win, or OT loss. Any of that, and they make the playoffs. Can they do it? Fluke and Demo? Let's find out.
Let's find out indeed, as we now hurtle into what is the end of a play day that at points has felt endless, and the end of a season, at least before playoffs, before we get the feed in towards the best of threes. Demo! Are you ready?
Yeah.
That's good. Because if you weren't, we'd have to pause everything, and we'd have to go back to the start.
We don't want more pauses, please, no.
No, you're right. You're right.
There is one little thing that I don't recall the desk picking up on.
Throw it out.
There is an opportunity still for W7M to get top 2 ahead of NIP.
Yeah.
But it would mean that NIP need to get 7-1 or 7-0'd.
Okay. So that's low possibility.
Yeah.
That could be set. That will be
If
settled.
NIP get
potentially
2
within
rounds,
2
they're
rounds.
confirmed top 2. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
All they need is 2 rounds. For NIP, that's all they're playing for. Obviously,
NIP's
for Loud,
win con.
they need to win. They need a point. Well, just a point. I mean, they can do an OT loss if they want to, but a point.
Well, yeah. Technically,
6 rounds.
NIP could finish first as well. If they got
They
3
could.
points.
Yeah. If they win, just as they'll have a better round difference than Fury, then won't they? So yeah.
So they could finish first as well. It will just change seeding. And again, when you're looking at who's underneath you and you have w7m, you would also have NIP, FaZe, and Liquid. Especially with the Liquid performance they had earlier today. It's never really set in stone. And there's no easy game in this league. That's why it's often cited as the best one around. But one last dance, one last showdown. And on one classic map for it to happen on. Now, Loud, they just need to get to overtime. They just need a single point, a single round from this. They get 6 rounds. That's their win con. They aren't changing anything other than coming 6, as is a very clear result, as was put across by the desk. So they might find themselves taking a bit of risks. NIP, quick to the pressure on towards it, get the clear over the rest of the map. They're not messing about, Demo. They've been very, very quick here in just getting in. Top 2 floors, under our control. Bish, bash, bosh. Let's start getting focus on the ground basement.
Yeah, I mean, this is the easy bit, isn't it? This isn't what's gonna win them or lose them the round. It's gonna be that actual execute. And, you know, obviously, you look at the lineup for NIP, you talk about execution operators. They've how many in that lineup? I mean, that is just a boatload of util. Yings, the Grim, the Capital. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. You really look at that lineup and all the things they can do. I mean, they could, theoretically could pressure every inch of every corner in this bomb site. There's not going to be a single safe place that you can sit that you won't get hit with util if you're a defender here. So, yeah, this is going to be a rough one that Loud needs to try and fight back from. And really, I think it comes down to your clash and where that clash is going to be positioned.
45 seconds and everything starts to pop its way down on towards the basement, and there's the drop, but there's the first NIP kill if they're able to get the second almost immediately after.
Nice.
There's a C4 that at least stops some of the flow, but one defender left. A triple kill for Hates. Live does find one on the way out the door. That's about it.
That's top tier. In terms of whenever it comes to attacks, you won't find better. Honestly, that is everything working in unison. That is an orchestra being conducted there. Everything, game plan was there. Just ying the living daylights out of everyone. Fire in the bees. Try and secure that plant, which didn't really matter in the end because they were able to pick up so many kills because Loud tried to actually battle back against that util and got punished because of it. Yeah. Just, what else can you say? That's what NIP's been doing all stage. I mean, you know how impressed I was with NIP last week whenever they played against FaZe. You know, they gave FaZe one of the worst beatings that FaZe had had in a good part of 1,000 days. Yeah?
Yeah.
NIP, the transformation of this team, the evolution of where this team was, it is immaculate. And it's because I think the transfers that they've done, that was it. It was the key. You know, the players that they brought in, it's not as though they were, like, with these players, it's not as though they were taking a risk with picking up players that maybe no one had ever heard of before. You look at those players, we've seen them around for ages. But you're putting them in an environment with new players that actually might make it click. How many times do we see players who, you know, were in and around the scene for ages, but just, you know they were good players, but never really achieved much. And then you take them out of one environment, put them into another, and all of a sudden, that team starts winning.
It's always that element when there's, you know, the conversations of super teams, the conversations of changes. Sometimes the changes need to be more intrinsic. Look at teams, if we're to sort of travel around the world, you'll look at the sort of M80 project. They've had these super team rosters. They haven't quite netted. They look just slightly different players, slightly different sort of opportunities there. And you know, suddenly this roster with the names that might not be the same superstar names they had a bit before. Yeah, they're great players, Gavani, Diffuser, whatever. But they're not the previous names. Oh my god, this roster is one of the best sort of absolutely flawless right now. G2, sometimes they've brought on superstar players, hasn't quite connected. The changes that can be made, you never really know what's going to come together, but when it does, as NIP has done over the years and years of trying superstar players, lifting hammers, not lifting hammers for a long time and drifting away from metas that have otherwise felt a million miles away, this is where they sit. It's worth sort of mentioning as well there, whilst I'm making a point, I think across the world, the only team with a better defensive win rates than NIP right now across the leagues is M80. And it's by 5%.
Yeah, and M80 has been an absolute, I mean, freak show the way how consistently those guys have been. I mean, I'm pretty sure I looked at the NAL stats. I think their whole team it takes up the 2nd to 6th place positions in that leaderboard of best players. Like, they literally have 5 players in the top 6. Only one person's better than all of them. That's been Atom this stage. Sorry, so I'm doing Fox and Laxon's job over there. Sorry, I shouldn't.
That's all right.
I've went too far. I've went into their region. They're going to send me. Going to get a letter saying back off. We get sued.
That's it. Even with their 2 losses, NIP still have a 75% defensive win rate, the 2nd best of any team in Stage 2. But that's the second half of this game. They're going to see if they can try and lead in here. There's obviously, again, a late push with all players still left. This is the 2nd time in a row we've got all 10 hitting the site with 30 seconds left. They've got a bit of an awkward breach. It's a bit of a hop over they've got to make as the flash and the blinds come across the top. They're seeing if they can apply the pressure, but as Kibas and Sense Gadgets roll through, they've just sort of given themselves an opportunity. Surely they can't pull that one off. No, smoke canister and caught in the middle of a firefight. It's traded kills either side, a shotgun out the breach, but suddenly NIP hop off to the races. 9 seconds, swing on the pre-fire, 1 versus 1. It's just, it's just a clash left. 3 seconds, no time. He's out of time. The health, 1 bullet.
Oh my. Yeah, like that, you cannot get any closer than that right there. I mean, that is absolutely absurd. Wow, I mean, what a scrappy round, though. I mean, not usually the way that we see that bomb site be played out. It was just kill fest, just kill after kill after kill. I wouldn't say there was necessarily an execution kind of coming in from Loud, or from for NIP, sorry. They just went for blow for blow for both teams, and I'm so impressed by it. You know, I think both of the teams, on that bomb site, I think it's so easy, you know, for attackers and defenders just to completely topple in one way. You know, all it takes is one person appearing and getting a double kill, or maybe an attacker standing, cutting down a crossfire. But that one was just kills galore. I mean, yeah, it's a great game of Siege. I'm loving it.
On a piece. And we are off to the races. And yeah, as you said, this could turn into, well, I mean, it already is a banger, but you really want this to continue. I mean, we've had games that felt like a banger start before, and then they drifted away into a chalet that was a bit more forgettable. This, though, I mean, do and die seemingly was the MO. 2 executes in that final sort of gasp of a round. 2 opening kills. There's what, 17 seconds left in that round was when the first kill came together. 40 seconds the round before. Are they going to get even tighter? Will this be 10 seconds left? They're really giving themselves a full stretch of the map. NIP aren't rushing themselves. But it doesn't give them many options, as we just saw. When 1 or 2 things slightly disconnect, they have some plans in place, but how many hurdles can Loud put up seems to be the MO of their game. Being contested on the approach, just trying to bait the utility usage out of them, spraying through and a bit early. Now it seems like they want to try and route their way across, as standard as it goes. In the clash, you can just see them propped up against the construction window, sort of saying, no, let my friends out. We're free.
There we go. There goes the Candela. It's now can slip in, but it's going to be the clash that's going to be his biggest issue, not necessarily anyone inside of cash. As long as they can somehow root out the clash, he should be, you know, pretty game here for the Blackbeard to have some pretty good value, I think. In terms of what they can do, I mean, still got two air jabs in the pocket, so dealing with the clash shouldn't be that much of an issue. At the moment, Loud. Just sitting in sight, not overextending themselves. A bit of action actually downstairs. Live. Thinking about a C4 from below is now being stopped as Hates just swiftly peeked his head in. Now will once again rotate back to his team, but NIP, it's just... I think that they're looking for that first pick, but right now I think Loud are doing a great job here, Emmett, just not giving it to them, just sitting on their hands, just waiting.
Yeah, it's a perfectly played sort of pacing game, right? They're playing with the Keybers, they're moving back in, and oh, there's at least one for SDK. At the same time, a kill comes out for the side of NIP. The C4 will slow them down a bit, but again, 30 seconds, and again, late engagements, late starts. Let's see now if the pressure can come together. Cons is in, fishing for a fight. He doesn't know he's about to find one. Can't swing round to the second, but somehow evades the clash. Pre-firing angles, nobody's home on. Pino gets one more. Wizard locks it in, and NIP, step by step across the fight. Live is all that's left alive. Gets one whilst blind. But a post-plant situation with a Blackbeard still up. They're able to cross the divide. Oh, the pre-fire gives their own game away. It gives them an option. Does get one great take there, but the Blackbeard is just going to watch. Keep a safe distance. Don't reveal themselves as Cons can offer the cover. Somehow covers the divide there against the Blackbeard, and almost needless risks, leading to needless results.
Oh my word. NIP on these executes. My goodness. Do not let this team set up. That's what I think you have to take away from this game. You give them an opportunity to have a pretty clear line of thought of what they want to do. Yeah, it's absolute nightmare fuel. Loud. Well, you haven't been able to stop NIP. I did say that 2 rounds all NIP needed, so NIP have secured themselves in that top 2. And again, I also have a chance, of course, of overtaking Furia based on round difference if they win. So must say, NIP, very impressed on this stage. Well-deserved first place finish in the groups. We'll have to see how they get on a playoffs, because again, we move into the best of 3s, Amy, and that is a little bit different than what we're used to just in the best of 1s.
I think there's always the thing about the best of 3s as well, is there's the comments that we could sort of make about game 2 was that what we saw on that chalet wasn't really the Furia we all see in the best of 3s. Because there's a different element, there's a different game. This in best of 1s is a sort of middle child because it has a lot of heat, a lot of potential, especially for Loud, who are desperately trying to get themselves still in that top 6 and get themselves into those best of 3 playoffs. But from that sort of perspective, because there's also still the heat of NIP having to fight for it as well, it's still going on as sort of all that pressure, all that possibility of the elements of these are the maps that you'll probably see, right? Clubhouse is a map that shows up in a lot of best of 3s. It's almost a taste, this map and this intensity, of what we will get, as everything will come down to this importance.
NIP now having to try and take on, of course, this bomb site without any of the traditional hard breaches available, don't forget. Look at Loud and what they've went for the bans. And it is something that we've seen before in Clubhouse. We've always talked about Clubhouse. It comes down to how good you can do the basics, and most of the basics is getting walls opened up and hatches. So, going to be really restricted just with hard breach gadgets, of course, but I'll still find it a pretty easy way. The only thing it will do, though, Elmi, I think it restricts any possibility of a triple wall, unless, or like a triple wall church take, unless you want to bring in like 6 hard breach gadgets at that stage, because typically you would need 3 for the hatches, and then probably 1 for dirt is what we see it used. Just give yourself another option. So, I mean, you still could go for it, but I don't know. I think it's very, very risky anyway. But yeah. Roam game is obviously something that I've seen before whenever it comes to the basement, but at the moment, it's working out really, really well so far.
Okay.
I mean, just cleaned house. NIP, I did say, do not let NIP set up. So I like the intention. Go for the roam game, disrupt them.
Sounds taken just before disaster. getting louder like a bee, except it's a bee that explodes. Okay. We get ourselves now 2-2. The game is as tense as it can be, and it's traded around. It's nobody sort of getting anything easily or anything aggressively.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
It's worth sort of looking across the board here. Obviously, there is an element where we had star player performances. We talked about the perspective before. Here it's live versus hates, which you'll see when this banner goes. There it is. Hates obviously picking up the role on those sort of the sort of shield lead in the Capitao, throwing themselves in aggressively on these multifaceted elements of operators. Somebody knows the importance of the game, but when your backline player is the one that's meeting them, when it's your smoke, your clash player in the first round, it, I guess in an element shows just the pressure that NIP's putting on. That live is having to do so much work. It says two things. One, NIP are knocking on the door of the site every single round. Two, Loud are sort of giving them that engagement. Live almost took immediate damage there from something. But we've seen that Loud like to stretch the map and then pull back. Don't get caught until you need to get caught.
Did that get opened up? I think it did. Again, there was an attempt there, an impact. I want to say they did get the wall open up. Again, what we'll see pretty often with the Mira. It's used as a way of disrupting those hard breachers, and whenever you're only limited, of course, to just a hard breach gadget, it's very easy to impact trick off. NIP, let's see what the approach is, because last time they were here, it was so scrappy, and it did come down to, beat the buzzer almost for the clash. Just had enough time to get himself positioned and then just run down the clock. So, we'll see if NIP are going to have a little bit more of a clear and concise way of dealing with this top 4 bomb site. I mean, obviously with no clash available to them, they won't run into that same issue. Other Mira, typically that one is used for just top red, and it's used just to defend the bomb site. But actually using that on the other breach to try and impact trick, a bad idea. Just hope it works for them, and still got plenty of impacts.
At this point, we're still going to find ourselves in the double digits area, but that's time ticking away before a fight actually starts to come. NIP, the pressure is mounting. You can feel it in every single step and every single breath you make as a defender, that they are outside the house and they're desperately trying to blow the walls down to get in. Basetto, though, gets Loud with Perez joining the chorus of kills. 2 knocked back, and a third is actually not theirs to take through the cracked mirror window, but the breach is only going to be awkward from this point onwards. They can get themselves a hop in, but when you're thinking about the crossfires and garage, you're thinking about this is going to be an awkward landing to have to stick here. A long-range smoke canister, the last one thrown out and loosed on the door, will buy them a little bit of time. Remember where they tried to plant before? It seems like so do the defenders as they're trying to step in and push back. There is a mirror underneath. Basetto with a C4 right underneath the door is ready and waiting for them to step in, so they go deep. The shield all the way to the back of top red, but takes a risk. And it turns out 2 versus 3. The plant is being confirmed. Basetto need to do something here. The C4 missed opportunity. And a miscommed location now. You've got 1 above. They can peel back. It's pity party health and a pity for Loud.
Misses the C4. I mean, look, they just didn't have the info. Simple as that. Good plant position. I mean, in the grand scheme of things there from the Blackbeard, realizing that there's probably going to be a guy downstairs. I mean, we've been able to take top red like that, and we know there's one guy in the garage. The other guy has to be downstairs because he hasn't shown himself in any other part of that bomb site. Default, C4, yeah, you dodge that, you plant where you planted, it works out for them. I mean, obviously still risky. All it took was, 1 bit of information, and that round was done and dusted. But NIP, I mean, with 3 attacks, I mean, you pointed as well that this isn't even them at full strength. This isn't the defense yet.
Yeah, that's that sort of risk. It's that horrible thing that hangs over anything in the room and makes you realize, oh no, the worst is still yet to come. NIP, they've done statistically more than enough on this half. You're on club, a team, or a map, yeah, that's very well known. But it's a map that plays well.
10 seconds remaining.
For defender teams, and they are definitely a defending team. Loud. It's still bitterly fought. Every single round is a chance, but the problem is now those little holes, those problems in their defense are starting to have a bit more of a light shone on them, right? We saw there maybe some of the cleanest in terms of NIP's close down. It's been close back and forth, but since the first round, I think, of NIP ones that they've won, it's the most survivors that have sort of been there at the end, and think about how late the push was. Going for a chance at a deep strike to the top of the round stairs, but nobody currently home.
A classic. I mean, sometimes we even see, you know, Castle be brought in just to castle up that specific window, because it can be pretty annoying. I'm sure everyone's probably died from that window at some point. I'm sure we all have. Some guy sat out there, you know, being an absolute loser. But that's stage for you. There are quite a lot of them. But again, this steady approach from NIP, just like last time, wanting to clear horizontally. Coming in from Cash and in for construction eventually. That's where they want to stem their attack from. Bit of a pushback here. I think last time Loud, didn't they kind of left this area like pretty early on. But Live, I think, is in a position where he's gonna die. It just depends how many he's taking with him, because there's no way he's gonna be able to get out of here.
Pino gets Perez. That's the first blow, but a team kill amongst it. Fantasy does find Live on the end, so the bullet stained with his teammate's blood at least still pierces the target that he wanted to hit, but they've lost that Zafia. They've lost somebody they didn't really need to lose. In exchange, there's still a lot of potential that Zafia could have dealt with. Yeah, they have one Flores drone, and you can shoot through Kiba barricades. You're going into what is probably a setup that you'd rather have a couple of ranged impacts for. Here now, with the control of construction and with a steady and slightly blind approach, and Smoke Canis is used to delay the approach on towards Logi. They'll see if they can just try and cut their way across. It's covered. And last time they just crouched their way in, remember. Got really deep in the site and started to try and fight their way across. It seems like they're going to be a bit more aware of this. There was almost another a bit of incidental damage, but it's SDK! Pops round, gets 2. That was the 2 construction side players, I think. Oh no, 1 window, 1 construction somehow swings either side. The Rara door goes up. They're cutting their way across, and that's 2 back on their favor. Basetto, a 1 versus 2, wants to wait for the plant. Gives themselves a 1 versus 1, but the cover is on the door. They're only rotate as it's up against the hard. They make the distance. They go with the distance. Double down, Demo.
I mean, the kills on display in that round is off the charts. Some cracking shots, but that one there takes gold medal. It really does. The intention there for NIP was centered around using the Aurora. The whole idea was to use the Aurora to block off that double door on bathroom, which is always going to have a defender. There's always going to be someone in there. That person stops you from walking in through the bedroom door and going for the plant. If you Aurora that off, it gives you that just that clean way through. It got impacted off, but still, it was still able to create that gap. Even though it got impacted straight away, it still gave you that second of protection to allow that Aurora to walk in. Cracking shot with the DMR, great flick. But just a really good attack has been spoiled by an even better clutch.
Three apiece. Are we gonna have another OT? Remember that is the threshold. With the bar that was set Loud need a single round. As I said before, they weren't, or they aren't, unfortunately, new to this position. In stage 1, however far back that feels now, they fell out of the top 6 on the last play day only by round difference. I cannot imagine what that would feel like having that happen potentially again. And at this point, as they sit, staring up at Loss, who have pushed them out of the top 6 on the last play day, they are in the driving seat of their own fate. 3 rounds are but what separates them from the best of 3s, from a top 6 finish, and from some reconciliation with a past that may haunt them still. Now, we've talked up NIP's defense game. It's time for them to put into practice all the positives they've otherwise put together throughout this split. As we said, a 75%, 30 of the 40 total defensive rounds they've played, they have won.
Here we go. Second half. Don't forget what is on the line. Loud just need a point to secure themselves in the top 6 for playoffs. They are 3 rounds away. They're at the halfway mark. They just have to keep it going. But, as Emmy has mentioned a few times, this is where NIP want to be. They want to be on the defense. So Loud certainly have an uphill battle to up against. Now, looking at Loud, very similar to what NIP were able to do. Just looking to sweep from Garage into Cash and then finally into Construction. Equally, pretty heavy util lineup too. Capital comes in, the Grim as well. I think the Nomad has been brought in not so much for flank protection, just I think out of a fear that maybe a clash could come in. Because, look at Perez, hasn't used a single air jab, but hey, there's no clash, so he can use them for flank protection if he wants to.
I'm wondering if we're going to have more late first engagements. We're still seeing tastes of things. Flashtree's obviously taken a little bit of damage, but otherwise, there's not been an immediate follow-through. Hates underneath. They know he's close. But as the Deimos opens up an angle and sort of says, look, maybe I'm here, that's where you are. Mira suddenly behind the bar, and you see the panic in the motion as they hear the whistling and know that they're not a million miles away, but all just a spot and a second too late. It's almost a shame there that Hates was able to escape, but they forced the C4 user further away. However, with only 45 seconds left, they now either have to leave the Deimos underneath, start him trying to drive his way up, or try and do damage themselves as Paceto takes a bit of damage, and there's the C4 anyway. Flashtree does get the end of at least the cover, but now there's no Capital. You don't have those bolts, you don't have that pressure. It's another trade out. Flashtree doing all that they can to sort of keep the team fighting, keep the pressure on, but the Ace is shouldering a big mantle of a kill game that's not otherwise in towards their favor. 10 seconds, no one really inside the building, but a Deimos blindly charging. Where's the rest of the team? STK, Flashtree, make a move. Not that move. Flashtree gets himself one more, but no time. In a 1 versus 1 fantasy. Just has to swing round a bed. And put... Oh! Oh!
Oh my...
Oh! You're saying no, Fantasy, but let's not make a mistake. You almost absolutely messed that one up.
I can't. That's... I mean, we've just screamed as though we're in the Halloween franchise. That's how scary that was.
I mean, yeah.
That would have been, wow, that would have been one for the Reddit.
Oh, you should have imagine the screams if they pulled it off.
Oh my. That was a close shave. My word.
Whew.
Where do we go? 4-3. My goodness. What a game. I'm loving this game.
Honestly,
Has
right?
been
What a game.
Worth the wait. Worth the wait for tonight.
What a game for us to end on.
And again, even though some of these rounds have been really chaotic, the display of Siege being put on here is a very high quality. I've been very impressed with the way both teams have set out here tonight.
Oh, yeah. It's the really hard thing about watching a region like this, right? Because you're like...
Makes us feel bad. We're sitting there trying to peddle wolves and wild. Look what these guys have.
I wasn't going to go with that framing, but I was going to go with the framing of they all deserve top 6.
Yeah.
And, you know, yeah, the teams
really,
below the top...
apart from the bottom 2, the other 8 have been wildly competitive, I think.
Yep. And it's... You know...
Like, they've got a top 8, whereas most regions were used to top 4. It's like, that's crazy that they have a top 8, you know, that's the way we're talking about it, you know? Absolutely nuts.
Well, unfortunately, it's the bitter thing about great competition is someone has to lose at the end of the day, and between these two teams, Loud, as I said, they're just trying to get to OT. Let's see if they can try and keep the pace. It's been traded rounds all the way up to be this sort of point. And oh
wow.
No, what was that?
Timing. Perfect timing. Perfect timing if you're cons, horrific timing if you're flash free.
Yeah, that's a blow. Flastry was the person who almost pulled that entire round in last time with what would have been the clutch of the night. And then on the split of it, now they just have to sit and wait. And also the utility. No candelas, no chance at rolling in, getting the blinds down here on the pressure of the site itself. Yeah, you can roll with the sense wall, but you kind of want the candelas to operate elsewhere. There's only so much the sense can cover. You're against a very big, very wide, in some ways very flat site that can open up sight lines from one corner to the other without too many, you know, sort of routes blocked across. It feels like you can put pressure elsewhere, and well, now you probably can't as much. They have the mirror window that they can try and put some of this pressure on towards. The Selma, you assume, is about to hit that wall, and then they'll make sure nobody swings on the back of it, but there's the connection. Oh, not quite close enough to be able to get rid of it. The drop into Moto comes together. Now with that castle standing up, ooh, and that C4 not quite getting the full bite, they're going to tuck themselves around, but do they know about the Moto drop? They do now as the spray comes out, traded out, and picked back up, but they come out worse for wear. NIP have done 2 rounds in a row.
Yeah, NIP making it look easy, aren't they, on the defense? I mean, that was so clean. I mean, going for the triple wall approach, it was something that NIP and their attacks had no intention of going for. I mean, probably because they were really limited with what they could bring, because all of their hard breaching options were being banned away from them. So then they could only really go for, like, you know, generic kitchen drops into blues, that kind of stuff. You know, they had to be forced into that hand. I think triple wall, if you're going to go for the church take, unless you have great control of taking blue, that take isn't going to work. Because the players from blue can also deny anyone walking into church alongside the actual players inside of church. So I just don't think they had great coverage there in the blue. They didn't take control of that area. If they did, then yeah, those players inside of church would have been sandwiched. They would have been caught on 2 different fronts. So yeah, just kind of basic stuff that you expect at Loud. You know, you can't go for that take unless you have blue. It's surprising.
NIP, now they are still steadiling themselves on here. They've had the timeout of this side. Loud, they didn't want the divide to get themselves on towards map point, because then they really would just have one conversation, one chance. Here they might still have 2, but they do want to keep themselves within touching distance. NIP with one more round, I believe, would confirm themselves in top 2. All the work done previously by w7m, who I think already, actually, because you know what we said, NIP needed 2 rounds. They got that a while ago. But It's nice to have it with set numbers, especially after the split that they've had. I know we sort of talked about Furia being undefeated up until today. NIP have taken 1 regulation loss, 1 OT loss, and then 6 clean wins, which has been a brilliant season. And also with the round difference as well. The fact that FaZe, 6 and then 6 wins as well, 1 overtime loss as well, and 2 regulation losses, and their round difference is half what NIP's is.
Yeah, round difference does paint a picture sometimes. 8, hello, have you stopped working? That was a guy. I mean, he's looking for that peak, but he's just let him run past. Okay. Maybe it's not who he's after. After a bigger fish, maybe.
Attackers have located a bomb.
I don't think anyone's going to be going over to that spot that he's in right now. Oh, mate. Oh, dear.
They know.
Oh, almost. 8. Needs to be very careful to get himself out of here. STK is also down inside of Lounge and can hold him off, so the only way he can go right now, Emmy, is down through blue.
Yeah, he's making the move. He wants the fight, though, and to be fair, it's a Jaeger. At this point, they've placed their utility. He shouldn't have gotten away. But I think that Loud were a bit scared of the engagement there.
Yeah.
I think Hates was so happy for it that they went, oh no, we can't do this. And think about the time it's taken out of their approach.
Wow, they're really worried about him. Look at that.
Yeah.
Double gridlock track stingers too.
It's a massive amount of fear, and it's almost a shame because think about how this Loud team, yeah, okay, they would sort of pull back and play a bit of a flirty game with the rest of the map and then be back at the base. When it came time for tea time and the push against NIP, it's otherwise cautious, scared, worried, and it's not the energy that you kind of need. And yeah, you're against a great team.
They haven't even taken Rafters yet, which, again, this is where the timer comes into it. Have they missed both of the firebolts? I think they might have. So Wizard is in such a great position, and he's still got 2 ADSs, and oh no, Basetto, the fire arrows actually have stopped his approach coming up. I mean, they know exactly where he is, but he doesn't need to move.
That's it. Everything's covered. We heard those ADSs tick back into life. Look what's in the pockets of the attackers. 1 frag grenade and 1 flash. Yeah, they can try and use those smoke, but it's not going to confirm you the kill. That sure does. Basetto cuts their way across, but now...
no hard breach, they have to jump in the window.
No hard breach, they've got to make it in. Not entirely sure what's happened there and where the mess up has been, but Flastry's now watching. 17 seconds, there's a C4 that could define this. As Hates is able to get STK, 4 versus 4 levels things back off. 9 seconds, somebody's got to make a move on. Hates gets an easy lineup. There's just NIP because they're all having to hop their way in. What a tragedy.
Wow. I mean, NIP, that's how it's done. Just to really break that down, just nothing went in favor of Loud in that attack. 1, couldn't get the pinch onto the guy stuck in blue. Yeah? You had a guy in the upside down rappel, 1 person in stock. That guy should never be getting out of there. Somehow he did. 2, fire arrows missing their mark. Aren't able to clear away the player inside a catwalk. Fire arrows also even stopping the approach of the Ying. 30 seconds left. No hard breach remaining. Double reinforced garage walls that they had to deal with. All they could do was jump in. And then guess what? The cherry on top for NIP. That Jaeger came all the way back upstairs again and killed the guy inside a lounge.
It's not how you want
full circle
this.
round. That's what I call it. It's a full circle.
It's not how you want this one to end. You know, it was 3-3. Even Stevens coming into this.
Oh.
Apologies, my smoke alarm just went off. That's
I heard
the
that
game
as
that we're
well.
having.
No, I was waiting to see what you'd comment on that, but
yeah, well, it
good?
went on a bit longer than I thought it would. The house is fine.
Did you put the peaks in for too long?
No. Do you know what it is? It's because our smoke alarm system is connected to our neighbor's smoke alarm system, right?
Right.
And they could be making toast and burning it at what is 10 p.m.
Or they could
almost
be,
11. Or they could be watching the first half of this game again, which was fire.
Yeah.
But the problem is the second half has just sort of wilted away.
Yeah, the fire crews came. Put it all out, haven't they? So
I mean, it's not how you want it to end. That's sort of the point I was making, right?
Yeah. It's kind of dying like a whimper, isn't it? It started off with a bang, and now it's just into a whimper. Now, okay, so it's done. That's it.
I don't even really understand how that sort of played together, but they got fantasy. They got one, but what have they lost? Oh, they've lost one of their hard breaches. They can try and make things happen with two, but we saw what happened with their Selmas last time around. They couldn't quite make it stick, and there's a clash in a man disadvantaged situation.
Yeah.
And what do you have to remove a clash here? The Nomad, fine.
You have Nomad this time, which they did bring last time, but there was no clash. So
yeah.
Thankfully, they've remained with that Nomad just in case the clash did come along, and as you can see, it has. So as long as STK can get the air jabs placed correctly, and he can neutralize the shield, but I don't think the shield's going to be the issue. I think it's just going to be just body count. You know, it's a 3 versus 4 on a top floor. You now don't have as much pressure as what you would normally like to have in the windows. Like, windows is a massive part of this. And if you're already inside of a 3-man attack against 4, one guy has to be in the windows. That means the other 2 can only come from one way because they have to double up. You just can't be like going for one guy dropping the hatch, one guy pushing main breach, one guy windows, because then you have no chance for a retake. So it really puts them in such an awkward position where they just have to pick an attack and go for it.
I mean, hates 13-4. Let's be honest, what a way for this to be driven through. Basetto gets one, 3 more to find, 40 seconds, and a clash is the end of it. NIP, oh, they get themselves top 2. That was cemented. But the problem here is history circles, history repeats, and history is painful. Loud, for the second split in a row, miss out on the top 6 by nothing more than round difference, being sent out on the final day.
Yeah, but hey, you look at loss, and you have to give credit to them. They came in, and they done what they needed to do. They got the point. They put pressure on Loud. You know, that was always going to be a difficult game, no matter what, for Loud. So in many, I think in many situations, you have to say that Lost went and kind of done it themselves. You know, yes, and maybe it wasn't in their balance, but I just think with the matchup they had, NIP, who have just been on fire, you know, rightfully so. They're number 1 team now coming into playoffs. They deserve it so much.
Yep, it's number 1. They've been brilliant. And now we'll throw it to our number 1, our very talented desk. Although there's 3 of them, they can share the podium as they come up and share on screen. Take it away.
Thank you, Fluke. What a way to end it, and a heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking finish for Loud, who only needed 1 point. It was the overtime loss for Los that got them into the playoffs. Foxe, you asked for a team to win to make the playoffs. We did not get that today. Instead, it was a heartbreaking finish for Loud, and Los just sneaking in on round differential.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the way we wanted it to end. That being said, I really was impressed with all 3 of the teams competing for that 6th spot and how close they got. I mean, it was going to be difficult matches. You're playing against FaZe, w7m, and NIP, which arguably Loud had the hardest matchup out of all those teams. NIP has looked phenomenal, and I think we saw it displayed on Clubhouse. So I'd say it wasn't really Loud's fault. I think going to the map was a good toss-up, so to say. You know, getting almost essentially a 3-3-half and then splitting it out onto the attacks, and then the attacks was the issues. NIP is just so difficult to keep contained with how aggressive they were, and that was Loud's downfall, unfortunately. But I mean, you know, congratulations to NIP for today, and for Los for making it to top 6.
You know, when we saw this map, I mean, I liked it for the side of NIP because, one, the pressure isn't on them. They just need to play the game. But for the side of Loud and kind of see, especially how the attacks unfolded for the side of Loud, I think going to such a default map, if anything, it puts more pressure on you because, again, you have to be perfect on such a simple map that you can't really lose your footing. And the second you do, the other team's going to run away with it. And that's exactly what NIP did here. I mean, I think Hates must have heard me pre-broadcast saying, you know, he was the one that kind of held the team back in their matchup versus w7m. And then today he pops off 13-4, +9, 3 opening kills. I mean, there's not much more you can ask from him in terms of righting his wrongs where he couldn't get it done versus w7m, but he clearly can get it done here versus Loud.
Yeah, there was certainly a way to finish for NIP, so we'll welcome in Pino, who is standing by ready to go after this one. Pino, congratulations on ending the stage with a win. I believe that now takes you to first place on the group stage, so now you will be the team to beat in the playoffs. But of course, you will have a bye round to open things up. Was that your focus coming into today, was to get that first place and to secure that top seed?
Yeah, it was our main objective here. Like, you guys, the top 2 seeds is really important. So we're gonna have a day off on Saturday, just watching the team. So yeah, we could have a really good advantage there. Just one best of 3 to go to the major. So yeah, we're pretty happy with it. Like, we took this game very seriously. I think we did a great job on the banning phase. Like, our plans on defense, like to abuse Mira, then abuse Clash first, then abuse Mira. So yeah, it was really good. So yeah, it feels great. The hard work is paying off. Last season we made 16 points. This one we did 22, I think. So yeah, really happy with it. And if we go to the major, we're gonna go do better now.
Yeah, I mean, congratulations on getting first. Amazing stage for you guys so far. Not only did you get first, but you successfully kicked Loud out of the top 6, getting Los into the top 6. Does that make you feel good, bad, any type of way from being able to prevent Loud from making it to playoffs?
Yeah, I think Loud is a great team. It's all good to eliminate a good team from the playoff, but Los is evolving as well. I think in this stage they are better than the first one. The arcades brought a lot to them. So yeah, I think for Loud we could feel the nervousness of them in the match. So yeah, it's always bad to play a match like that, and yeah, we took advantage of it.
Well, Pino, congratulations on first, and quite the performance from the squad as a whole. I kind of want to ask you a question, similar question that I asked Sexy Cake. Obviously, you're a historic player. You're an SI World Championship winner. You've had your ups and downs throughout your career, throughout these past stages. It seems like everything is going on the up and up. Now you're in this playoff situation where you need one game to make Munich. I'm just kind of curious, just from your own personal point of view, how have you been just taking everything day by day and getting up until this point?
Yeah, I think that the problems we had on our team in the past year, it was clear to us what we were doing wrong. Like, we couldn't be on the same page on the team. Like, the game plans were so off. Everybody was thinking different. So now we have a team that everybody thinks the same way about the game. And we try to fix our mistakes day by day, so without putting a lot of pressure on it. So yeah, I think that we are maturing a lot as a team, and then we can improve a lot by doing this simple stuff.
Absolutely.
All right, listen, Pino, thank you so much, and thank you for your time, and good luck in the playoffs. Enjoy your off day. Enjoy watching the matches. It should be fun.
Thank you.
All right, well, NIP are able to close it out 7-3 on Clubhouse, breaking the hearts of Loud and Loud supporters, but ending the stage with a bang. Lax, I mean, there's no doubt that having that bye, having that first place seed isn't going to make the biggest difference between first and second, but it's good for the momentum. It's good for the ego. It's good for keeping your team feeling good when those matches, when those best of threes just matter so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's nothing like getting an off day, being able to watch both opponents, depending who you're going to end up playing. You'll have knowledge on both. You'll be able to prep. But like I said, it is a little bit of a double-edged sword. It's not unheard of that we see teams that do end up making it into that bye end up having to play through a loser's bracket run just to try to qualify when they had the easiest stunt of just needing that one game. So again, it is great in some aspects. It obviously boosts the confidence, makes everyone, just in terms of like what Pino said, you know, they had 16 points last stage, they got 22 here. So clearly there's improvements that are being made, and it is keeping the confidence level and the momentum going. But I just got to be realistic. From being a former player, it really can be a double-edged sword, because while these other teams are playing their matches, getting their reps, fixing their mistakes, all you can do is just scrim and watch. And in some aspects, it's great. But in others, there's nothing like getting game day reps, and especially coming off of a big win and carrying that momentum with no days off. So I am excited to see what that matchup, who they will end up playing against, and then seeing if they can qualify through Munich with just one game win.
Yeah, NIP has always been a very big momentum-based team, and I sense that this is the same style of team. It's really based off momentum to keep the comms flowing, keep everyone energetic, and I think not only can we see that, but we see it in their play as well. I mean, when you have the player that we were highlighting at the start of Fantasy, not necessarily finding entries, not able to find an opening, and then you have the support players on NIP being able to step up, carry the team, carry the weights. It's really nice to see, and I really believe that it comes down to the momentum. So absolutely, having a game like this, putting them into first, only makes them that much stronger. And here's one of the supports is Hates. I mean, he was so monumental on the utility clears, on getting the opening picks, on being able to maintain and get position for his team. Very smart player, and he was so impactful, because if the supports didn't step up for NIP, they would have been in a very tricky spot. They knew that the pressure was on for Loud. They knew that Loud was in the driver's seat to make the mistakes, to lose the game themselves, and they just used the utility to push them out of corners, push them out of positions, and regain the game. And this is a version of NIP I've never really seen before. I've never played against before, is a NIP that's using the strategy, using their brains to beat their opponents.
Well, as we say, we sometimes mention every round matters. That was never clearer than a day like today, where the difference between overtime and regulation, even though that's a loss in overtime, that is the difference between going to the playoffs and having a chance at Munich and sitting on the sidelines and watching from home. That was the case between Loud and Los, as Los leapfrog them and take that 6th place spot. The rest of your playoff contenders, NIP, Furia, W7M, FaZe Clan, and Team Liquid, will all come together in a cutthroat playoff bracket that starts next week. Lax, I mean, what's this all about? What stands out to you here?
Honestly, I mean, NIP probably is going to be going up against FaZe again, but that's not to say that Liquid can't win that game. I mean, Liquid, with the way that they're looking, they're looking like quite the opponent. And then the Furia, W7M, Los, I think Furia might have the easier side of that bracket, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, where NIP definitely is the tougher.
Oh, 100%. I mean, Liquid, arguably, I would say, is the stronger wild card as opposed to Los. That being said, Furia W7M will be a great matchup. NIP, regardless of who they play, will be a great matchup. But everything is meant for these playoffs. That's where push comes to shove. That's where all of the season, the whole year, is led up to this point to be able to make the major. And pressure is a hell of a thing. Teams that crumble under pressure will be exposed in the playoffs. And it's a very intricate situation, and it's best of 3s. So teams that are able to adapt, teams that can flex a big map pool, they have the advantage, and it's a completely different ball game than during the regular season.
Well, before we close things out, we still have to discuss our Predator play of the day. And there were a couple of moments, Lax, that we could point to say that was the defining moment. But let's talk about the maybe most competitive matchup of the day, and that was W7M taking on Los. And it was Dodez in round 14 with a quad kill to make it work.
Listen, I'm glad I retired when I did. I wouldn't want to go against players like these. I mean, Dota has just pulled, I said this, he pulled a rabbit out of the hat here to bring this round back. This easily could have been Los's round, but because of this, it allows them to be able to stay in the fight, and not only that, close out the match. But it's big plays like this, in moments like these, where this will cripple a team that doesn't have that same mentality, that doesn't have that resilience, like a team like w7m that are all very talented, all very experienced. And to be able to pull out a clutch like this, grabbing one, immediately switch, then hearing the other, immediate switch, going for that transition. I mean, great play from Dotez, and just a great understanding of his positioning and how to single out each and every single one of those 1v1s in a realistically an unwinnable situation. He made it happen.
Yeah, I mean, he took advantage of the fact that nobody had information on him. He's able to play in a corner. He gets the first pick. He rotates. And unfortunately for Los, it wasn't necessarily a matter of bad trading. I mean, everybody was in the position. They were going to get that trade. He just played the position that he had. He won his 1v1s, and he isolated every single one. He took advantage of the lack of information, and that's what a smart player does. The only advice that Los could have done better in this position has been stacked up on each other. These last two players, instead of isolating ones, both peaked them together. But he took advantage of not only the information, but the fact that they're going to be sloppy on their communication, and really good heads-up play to be able to hear what the sound cues, where everyone was going to be coming from, isolates the ones with the walls between them. It was just really well played.
Well, it was a heck of a day, and as always, I feel like we're closing out these group stages with a bang. A lot of playoff implications. We got them sorted out, and now our playoff bracket is set. Any bold predictions from either of you for playoffs, for who's going to Munich before we close things out? Laxing, anything crazy to shock people?
Can we pull up that bracket real quick? Just 1 second, if we can.
Los is making the major.
I mean, hey, you know, that would be quite the hot take. If I had to say one semifinalist here was going to go to the bottom, I think it would have to be, I don't know, man. This is tough.
Whatever you're about to say is crazy.
Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna keep it to myself. I think Furia definitely go to Munich. I think NIP go to Munich, and then I think there's a world where FaZe Clan has to do a lower semifinal run to then qualify.
Stay woke. This might be a hot take. I think both semifinalists, NIP and Furia, lose, and they make it
say
towards
the same
the
thing,
lower
but
bracket.
I wasn't gonna. Then I was like, nah, I'm not gonna say that.
I feel like w7m beats Los, beats Furia. FaZe beats Liquid, beats NIP because of the matchup, and then NIP would play against Los, I believe, which they would win, and then they would make it to Munich, and then Furia would play against Liquid, and they would win. That's my opinion on how the 4 teams would go. But yeah,
I'm glad we have the same idea. I couldn't convey it like you could.
Maybe it'll happen. I mean, you're both on the same page, so who knows? Unpredictable playoff action continues here, or starts here in the SAL next week, Saturday and Sunday, the first round, and a week later we'll close things out with those final 2 matches. We're gonna send teams to Munich. We're gonna get a clearer picture of what the regional finals might look like, and everything, of course, adds up to that beautiful 6 Invitational in Paris, getting ever closer on the horizon. Thanks so much for tuning in to the final play day of the group stage. For Demo and Fluke, for Laxing and Foxay, I've been Jonas Willinger, and we'll be back next weekend, so she will take you through the playoff action. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you then.
You know how they say, it's not the destination, it's the journey?
And the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And you know what?
They're right.
Keep an eye out for contact.
Available now. Yes!